Sith, I didn't know you were into the lore that much, man. That was very insightful. I really like where you went on that. You ever wonder what makes a great gamer? Great gaming is not only about cheering on our teammates, but also being there to pick us up when we're down.
Guardian down.
We're a Destiny 2 podcast that focuses on three things: community, news around the gaming industry and Destiny 2, and thought-provoking topics in the game. We're Guardian Downcast. Your stories, your community, your destiny. What's up, Guardian? Welcome to episode 248 of Guardian Downcast, the Destiny podcast. I'm your host, Todd the Gator, and I'm a day one Guardian who loves gaming and the Destiny franchise, and we talk about it. In this episode, we ask, what do you think is the future of the Destiny game? Well, today, I have another brand new guest of the show. I had the opportunity to talk with him in one of our past live shows, but tonight, I dive in a little deeper and we get to know a little bit more about him. He's been a part of the Guardian Downcast community for a while now and has really given back to our community as he holds one of our limited spots as a Raid Boss patron. Please welcome Sithdaddyfresh. How you doing, man?
Doing pretty good. How about yourself?
Good, man. I'm looking forward to talking tonight, man. We got a lot to cover. And well, as the listeners probably asking, in today's show, we're going to first get to know more about Sithdaddyfresh. I'll then put him through the fastest 2-minute question and answer segment we call the Speed Run. We'll jump into This Week in Destiny to see if there's any news to report in game. Then we'll be discussing our thoughts on the future of the Destiny game, and fair warning, there may be some more hot takes incoming. If we have time, we'll also answer questions from our community and go over some light housekeeping before we sign off for the night. And then very, very last, I'm contractually obligated to hear my space lawyer Laz in a Better Call Laz segment. So if we're ready, let's roll. Hey, thanks for listening to Guardian Downcast. There are several ways you can contact us. First, you can find us on X at Guardian_D_cast. Or you can find us on our Instagram channel at Guardian Downcast and see what pics and reels that I and our podcast guests want to share with you guys. You can send us a voicemail at speakpipe.com/Guardian Downcast, email at guardiandowncast@gmail.com. But if you just want to do it all in one spot, check out our new website. Just visit guardiandowncast.com. You can find all our contact info, leave us a voicemail, give us our show rating and review, search for any past episodes, or even get back to our community. Also, don't forget to sign up for future updates to the show, where we'll also have random drawings throughout the year, and you may win a gift card or even some Guardian Downcast merch. Our community thrives on interaction, so get involved and check us out. And later, Guardian. Well, Mr. Sithdaddyfresh, before we get into the interview and get to know more about you, I'm going to mix it up a little bit this week. Let's talk about what we've been doing this week, kind of catch up in our gaming, what we've been watching, all that good stuff. I'll start with you, man. What have you been doing in the gaming and entertainment this week?
Destiny as always. Been kind of out of the Discord a little bit, but farming for that edge transit and a good mountaintop. Even today, that's been a little bit of fun. Been on some Fortnite doing that. They dropped all the avatar scrolls, so you can be like Aang from The Last Airbender. That's been goofy fun for no reason. And then as always, for my brothers in arms out there, I've been spreading some democracy. So
Helldivers, yeah.
Yeah.
What is it about that game, man? I'm obviously not playing it. I mean, all I play is Destiny. But what is it about Helldivers that is just keeps people playing it, man? I don't get it.
I think it has to do with the fact that when you first jump into the game, it's all solo and it's super easy. Mm-hmm. Like that tutorial mission is the cakiest intro you've ever done. It's so much fun, but it's super easy. And then once you jump in with friends, I don't know, it just elevates and it becomes something crazy. And you've got your buddies making noises that you didn't know other grown men and women could make out of fear of a video game. And it's just fun. I don't know. Overall, the game is terrific. I love it. I like the plot. I like the story. I played a little bit of Helldivers 1. But with Helldivers 2, it's like Onslaught turned up to 11 for every single mission.
Wow.
And then, of course, you can increase difficulty and everything else. And you'll get points where you're one guy running around with 3 minutes until your shuttle gets there. You've got no revives, 4 Bile Titans, no stratagems, and you're just trying to stay alive, trying to be the little hero. And it's definitely not a game that should be taken lightly in any regard. It definitely gets tough, but that is the fun of it.
I'm guessing because of our profession. I don't know why I don't play this game, because you're shooting bugs, dude. Why on earth am I not playing this game? I'll cave eventually. There'll be a little bit of a gap between now and Final Shape, and I'll finally say, you know what, let's do it. Because you're shooting bugs, right? I mean, it feels like Starship Troopers whenever I see people play this game.
Yeah, so there's 2 sides to it. So you have the automatons, which is very much like the Terminator side, I guess is the best way to put it.
Sure.
Where you got big robots with human faces and you got to shoot them and all this craziness. But then there is the other side where it is very much Starship Troopers. Do you remember, what was that, when they talked about making Neo Muna and they wanted that very like 80s action hero kind of thing?
Like the buddy cop.
Yep.
Yeah.
This is, Helldivers is very much like that 70s, 80s, rah America.
Really?
Like kind of feel behind it. Plus it's Starship Troopers, which is something that's a little out there, but it's terrific. I don't know. It's a lot of fun. I definitely recommend getting it if, given the fact you don't have it. I know you said you're going to wait some, but it's a lot of fun.
You know, I'll cave because, one, I can do it solo. Cause I usually when the time I have to play, there's not a lot of people on, but secondly, I'm shooting bugs, man. Seeing bug guts go everywhere. I mean, that's gotta be fun as hell. I know.
Yeah. And it's cool cause like you'll get extracted and you get taken back up to your big ship up in the sky. Nice. And you're kind of hanging out there and it does like a post mission seek.
Uh-huh.
And when you're standing there, if you were the guy who got like shot a lot, or if you were the guy who got beat up a lot, your armor's covered in like blood and stuff.
I love it.
But if you killed a whole bunch of bugs, your armor's like covered in blood guts.
I love it even more.
which is cool.
So it's like
you can definitely see the guy.
It's like robot oil if you killed a lot of robots, and it's like green bug guts. I love it.
There's like oil on you with blood on you if you got shot. There's like green blood gut goo all over you with blood on it. It's just, I don't know. It's a fun game. And I definitely I know you said you want to play solo, but I definitely recommend playing with a group because that is what makes it the most fun.
Do you have people really, griefing you being that there's, friendly fire? Do you run into that a lot? That's what I was worried about. I was worried people will just start just griefing people, just online just to shoot them and kill them.
Your asshole friends.
Yeah, well, I don't mind that.
That's about it.
Okay. So
that's about it.
You didn't get that from randos?
I mean, you get it every once in a while. Okay. Like it's very much having that group. You have to pay attention. Okay, cool. I see him shooting,
right.
To my 10 o'clock. I'm not going to walk over and around him and step in front. It's once you start kind of playing with other people, you'll see that.
Gotcha.
And it's not super hard to kind of pick up on it. So you don't really run into it. But then you'll get your friends who are just like, hey, man, what's that? And you look over and then they shoot you. And you're like, oh, come on.
So anything else going on in your life this week?
Work.
Of course.
For those of you who don't know, there's a question we'll get to a little bit later.
Yeah.
Mr. Stormcrow, I think, is who put it in there. Yeah. Asked why pest control guys are so much different. I am like Gator. I do also work in pest control here in the state of Colorado.
We call it pest management.
I've been doing it for, yeah.
Or as our customers call us, the bug guy. I love that. Hey, the bug guy's here. Would you need anything done over here? I'm like, oh, geez.
Yep.
I'm a pest professional.
Yes. I'm a certified pest control specialist through the state of Colorado. And
are you certified, really?
Yeah.
Oh, good for you, man. What areas are you certified?
Yeah. Outdoor invertebrate, Oh, son of a gun. I have to look at my...
GHP,
I don't
like
know
home
my
pest
wallet
control,
is.
like structural?
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
we do residential and we do commercial.
Okay.
And then for my QS testing, there's 8 of them and I have 7. You need 2 years with a company
Right.
straight in order to get your last QS test done. And I was a year and a half with the last company. I've been a year with this company. So in a year, I'll get that last QS test done.
See, it's so
We'll
weird.
be good from there.
The states are so different. In Florida, it's 3 years. That's it. 3 years, you got to be with a company and they'll sign you off. And hell, my uncle didn't even sign off for me. I had to go straight to the top to the testing administrator and say, listen, here's my pace check stubs. I've been working here. He won't sign off that I've got the experience. So I finally, I'm certified in GHP and rodents, home pest control. I'm also certified in outdoor lawn and shrub, tree. And then I'm also certified in termites and wood destroying organisms. There's 3 different, and there's another one I can get for fumigation, but I have no interest in tenting houses. There's so much liability in that, and only a few companies here even mess with it because it's just so dangerous. But
yeah, the last one here in the state of Colorado is that fumigation one.
Yeah,
which is a pain.
Well, I mean, honestly, my uncle never did fumigation, so I didn't have any experience doing it. So I had no business taking a test on it. But I did all those other things. So good deal, man. Yeah, as far as the question, Stormcrow, why pest control guys are different. I was thinking about this question today, and I used to, when I started working with my uncle's company, and he's the only company I work for. I know you've moved around a few different companies. I never got the big company, environment. I work for a small independent company. So I kind of got a feel on, all the route guys and stuff. And I trained under a couple guys that were just freaking nuts. I hung out in the lawn truck with these guys over the summer training, and I definitely was afraid for my life when they were driving several times. Yet there's something different about some of us. We're not all there sometimes, or we're maybe a little too into our job. I don't know.
Yeah. In my company, we have a thing called the first kill of the day, where if you have the first mouse, the first wasp, yellow jacket, the first ant, it doesn't matter. You try to be the first person to post a picture in our big company group chat, because there's like maybe 20 of us from top to bottom.
That's pretty cool. I didn't think of that.
So we post first kill of the day, and we'll have people that's like a moth that they found and they just smashed it and they send it in there. It's not very cool.
It's pest control.
Yeah, it's not very cool. But I mean, you got to find some kind of ways to keep yourself entertained, especially when you're spending, for us, we work 7 to 7, 4 days a week.
Yeah.
So you're 12 hours in a truck. Most of the time it's by yourself. Mm-hmm. So you got to find ways to entertain yourself. Luckily, I've had the Guardian Downcast podcast to listen to.
It's nice.
So that's been
definitely nice. You got a bunch of, in the All Sector Alliance, there's a bunch of podcasts out there. But see, that's what I like about my job. I like that I can just put a podcast in or an audiobook or whatever. I listen to a ton of podcasts too. Not all Destiny podcasts either. I listen to a wide variety of stuff, and it's kind of like my education. I'm getting educated while I'm working during the day. And then, if a customer comes up, I take the earbuds out and talk with them, and if they have problems and stuff, that's my job. And my guys are pretty much the same way. I make sure I tell them, listen, no earbuds when the customer's out. I don't want you going, excuse me, I can't hear you. I don't want to see any of that. Earbuds come out. But, when they leave and you're in the yard, spraying the yard, treating it, whatever, going around the outside of the house, earbuds, you can go back in. I don't care. Because, like you said, it's a long day by yourself. And sometimes you just need somebody to listen to, not just yourself breathing, So, yeah. Anything else in the gaming world this week? Anything you've been watching? I want to give you a fair shot here before I get into my stuff.
Yeah, super excited for the second part of Rebel Moon. I know we had just talked about that a second ago, but for the listeners out there, we're both going to end up watching it after we get done recording.
As soon as we're done recording, I'm going to watch it. I tried to. We talked about this before the show. I'm getting a new fence put in around my house, and I had to meet my fence guy this morning. So I had to go to bed early last night. Otherwise I would have stayed up late to watch it when it premiered. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to this one. And I know my expectations are low. I know it's not going to top the very first time I saw this film. I know it's not gonna, but I'm still looking forward to watching it. Man, there's some great TV on right now. But
I finished Sunday sat down with a girlfriend. She is not a video gamer at all whatsoever.
Right.
I was thoroughly surprised when we first met and I came over to her house for the first time that she had a Nintendo Switch that her and her friends played Mario Kart on.
Oh, wow.
Not video game, never a video gamer. She was a collegiate softball player. She just got 2 degrees, works as an athletic trainer at a high school. She has no time for video games at all.
I get it. That's my wife.
And I sat her down. Yeah, I sat her down and I said, hey, the show is on the premise of a video game, has nothing to do with the video game. It's actually shot 10 years after the last video game that came out.
Right.
Do you want to watch it? She was like, yeah. I was like, all right, hell yeah, let's do it.
Well, let's talk about it.
We sat down.
Let's talk
Loved
about
it. Fallout.
Let's talk about
Fallout.
it,
Was terrific. I loved every bit of that show. It was awesome.
You know what I loved about Fallout?
Loved all
is they pretty much stuck to canon. Because I played the Fallout games. Fallout 4, I think, was probably the one I played the most. So when I saw a lot of these environments, I immediately remembered where in game I saw this. But, yeah, man, it really stayed to canon pretty well. I'm actually going to go back and watch them all again. I kind of watched 8 episodes in 4 days. So I might have crammed it all in. It's a lot, man. I mean, each episode's what, about an hour and 15 or 49 minutes to about an hour and 15. So yeah, I mean, it's like watching a movie every night for 4 nights straight. And that's what I did.
I binge watched it on Sunday. We started at like noon and we ate dinner after we finished watching it. Cause I was like, babe, like we can get off. We can watch something else. And she was like, hell no, this show is great. And I was like, you're seriously enjoying it?
Yeah.
For me, was a really big deal because she doesn't like the video game side of things. But I really enjoyed it. She loved it. And she was like, immediately was like looking up when season 2 going to come out.
Yep.
She found some report that the director of the show ended up signing something in the state of California that allowed him to move to the Amazon studio.
Ooh.
Basically confirming a season 2. You heard it here, folks. There will be a season 2 of Fallout.
Oh, you know there will be.
Don't listen to that.
Dude, that's the
there will
thing
be.
right now on Prime. Prime Video is where it's showing for everyone.
But she looked into it. She was super excited about it.
I love it.
She told me her favorite character is Ghoul, which is fair.
You gotta love Walter Goggins, man. He's played so many cool characters. Did you ever see him in Vice Principals on HBO?
I watched it briefly.
Okay.
But I was still in the military at the time, and we'll get to that later. But I was still in the military time, and there was so much. This Game of Thrones was coming around at the time. I was finishing up.
I would have watched that too before.
Yeah, fair enough.
I haven't, full disclosure, I haven't watched it all yet. But man, he was really good in that too. But Fallout was really well done, and I'm definitely going to bring this up later in the show because it kind of ties in with my theory tonight. And it's out there. It's out there. I tend to go out there.
I'm excited for it, actually.
Yeah, so we'll get into that. But what else you been watching, man?
Yeah, sorry, last thing was a 3 Body Problem. I read the books.
That was a great show.
So I already kind of knew what was going on. But the show, I heard you give it a shout out, I think, in the first UK roundtable. That show was awesome. The show was great.
Yeah.
The girlfriend, she went the books, all of my books and stuff are out in the garage in a big box. And the girlfriend helped me move it all into the house. And she was like, are these the books? I was like, yeah. And she was like, fuck yes. I read them. And
nice.
she started to read the books because we watched the show. She enjoyed it so much.
Sounds like this girlfriend's a keeper
on
to me,
Netflix.
Man.
Yeah. I mean, she let me turn the spare bedroom, the smaller of the 2 spare bedrooms, into my little game room.
Nice.
So we'll see if she decides to stick around and deal with my shit.
I hear you.
I'm a turd. So
we're all terrible compared to women, but yeah, dude, that sounds like a fun week to me. I've been slowly but surely working on all my gun bounties, unlocking my shiny versions, the curated versions of the guns. I'm doing that first before I run a ton of the Onslaught, because I've been hearing things about Onslaught, how people are quitting after 10 rounds because apparently the rewards aren't worth the 50 levels, the 90 minutes of going through 50 levels. So Bungie addressed this. They already put out a tweet saying that they were going to revise things going into next week. They're going to have a patch for it where they're going to be offering a lot more gun drops. I think after level 30. So trying to get people to stick around and not dip out after 10. Shh. Movie review. But dude, it was all about movies for me. I mean, we had the roundtable last week, so I really couldn't share some of the movies I watched. But the very first movie I watched was a couple weeks ago, in fact. I saw Dev Patel in his movie called Monkey Man. You know, I had heard rumors that Dev Patel had been writing and working on this project for over a decade, but, you know, due to the fact he was so busy starring in other stuff, he never had time to pursue it and make it. So now he's finally released his movie, Monkey Man. Netflix acquired the film in 2021, but thought the film was too gritty for, I guess they were going to show it to Indian audiences, and they thought it was too political. Netflix really didn't even know what to do with this movie, so they kind of swept it under the rug. Well, enter Jordan Peele, who saw the film, decided to help produce the film under his Monkey Paw company, and convinced Universal to purchase it for $10 million. And boy, what a deal they got, because that movie has grossed a ton of money. The best way I can explain this movie is an Indian John Wick.
I was about to ask that was the thing that I had heard about it.
Yeah, and that's pretty close. But it is really more than just a John Wick flick. It's more about the inequality of the Indian culture, how this hero rises up against the corrupt politicians and police. It really kept me on the edge of my seat. You know, it never really slowed down. Never got boring and useless dialogue. It was well acted, well scripted, and well casted. Dev Patel did an awesome job portraying the hero. Fun fact, he broke his hand on the first week of filming on an action sequence and didn't tell anybody and kept filming regardless. I'm a fan of this film. And next to Dune Part 2, I believe this was the second best movie of 2024 for me. So I give it 4.5 stars. Great movie. Definitely one you don't want to miss. The second movie I watched was just this last weekend. It's Alex Garland's film, Civil War. Now, you may know Alex's other surreal movies like 28 Days Later, Ex Machina, Annihilation. I love that movie. Great movies he made, but I always had a weird feeling when I walked out of his movies. This film was no different. Very surreal. Now, the first thing I expected this movie to be was a politically charged viewpoint from the Hollywood scene. But I was really pleasantly surprised at how neutral this movie came across. It's based on a fictional America where Florida and California are rebelling against a corrupt president of the United States. You see everything through the eyes of a group of independent freelance journalists, which Kristen Dunst stars as one of them. The movie is well casted and the plot and the story are very well done. Jesse Plemons plays a rogue freedom fighter in this movie, and let's just say it gets ugly. That's a massive understatement coming from me. It is just very uncomfortable in some parts of this movie. In the end, in Alex Garland style, I felt really disturbed emotionally after watching this movie. I knew it was fictional, but the director wants you to question everything. And it certainly had that effect on me. Even though I left a little upended, I highly recommend this masterpiece of cinematography. I really like this movie, and good movies really leave a mark when they're done properly. 4 stars, a solid good film. Definitely need to see this one too. It's one of those spring movies that right there with Monkey Man you don't want to miss. So wherever it comes out, or if it's still at the theater right now, in fact, definitely don't miss this one. And the third and last movie I watched this week was just got released on Apple TV Plus, and that was Argylle. It's a Matthew Vaughn film, which I've kind of been mixed on his past work. I enjoyed his work, you know, in the Kingsman series of films, but I didn't really like his other films. Like I think he did Stardust. I don't know if you remember Kick-Ass from 2010. It's kind of a goofy superhero movie.
Nick Cage and Chloe, whatever her last name is, and Taylor Johnson.
Yeah, I was mixed on it. I mean, it was okay. He has a unique style, certainly, of building his stories and his projects. And this movie was right along that line. I really wanted to like this movie. It was kind of a comedic style of kind of a James Bond type thriller, but it just ruined the movie for me. The comedic play from Sam Rockwell, which, by the way, he carried the movie. I love Sam Rockwell. Good actor. He does everything he does. He puts in 100% on. But by the second half of the movie, it just got tired. It's not a good thing when you're looking at the clock to see the remaining time of a movie, you know, It just got boring. It really didn't go anywhere. And if it did, I didn't even care. There was really no value in the characters. The back and forth on whose side, who's tricking who just got tedious for me. Sadly, a time filler at best, maybe while playing some Onslaught. 2.5 stars. Not good. So those are my 3 movies. We talked about Fallout. I've been watching Shogun. There's 1 episode left of that on Hulu. That is an outstanding series. Even if you just signed up for Hulu for 1 month just to see Shogun, it would be worth the money. It's that good. It's getting crazy. There's 1 episode left and it's getting pretty bloody. Couple movies I'm looking forward to watching over the next week or so, and that is Fall Guy on May 3rd with Emily Blunt and Ryan Gosling. It looks good. I've seen the previews. I've seen a lot of the press on it. And I'm watching The Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare. It's the latest Guy Ritchie film. I'm seeing that on Sunday. It's another spy action comedy film, but placed in the World War II era. Fingers crossed. Because the last the last comedy spy action movie I watched was terrible. So come on, Guy Ritchie. I'm pulling for you, man. But that's it. That's it for me this week. But I want to get back to talking about you, Sithdaddyfresh. First. Well, first,
right before we do that.
Yeah. Okay.
Can I ask you my movie questions for you?
Oh, some movie questions. Okay. Yeah. Go for it, man.
Yeah. All right. So it's just 3 questions. Nothing super crazy, but I do want to make you think on one of them. Okay. You are a movie guy. When I told you this in Discord earlier this week, you sent me and I wish, will you post it in like the show feedback or something? It's like this big old giant GIF of like AMC Stubbs member. It was not what I was expecting. I was in a customer's house at work and it went off and it said it was from you. And I was like, oh, it's about the show. I clicked on it and I laughed and the customer was like, what's going on? And I was like, buddy of mine sent me a funny meme and just kind of blew it off. You being big into movies and things, 3 questions for you.
All right, man, go for
it. As a movie guy, I'm a pretty big movie guy myself. I definitely have my favorites. But I'm going to put you a little bit on the spot here, and I'm going to ask. If you had to choose, what is your favorite movie ever?
Ever?
Ever.
Oh, man, that's a really tough one.
It's with all the movie stuff you've done, I've never heard anyone ask you that.
I think a couple people have tried. I think I danced around the topic. Man, aren't I supposed to interview you tonight? What? Favorite movie ever? See, that's the problem, man. I watch movies at different times in my life.
Yeah. So for me, and maybe this might help you a little bit. For me,
please.
It's The Fifth Element.
Okay.
It's got the right amount of story. It's got the right amount of action. It's got a sweet ending to it. It's got the right amount of sci-fi and the right amount of aliens and the right amount of futuristic and that kind of cyberpunk feel. And it kind of hits everything. If you don't think that Ruby Rod is one of the funniest things that come out of the 90s, I don't know what's wrong with you first and foremost, but there was enough comedy in it. That's one of my favorite movies.
Chris was
ever.
Awesome in that.
Second is, it was. Second would have to be Armageddon. I grew up as a big space nerd.
Okay.
I loved a lot about it. My girlfriend thinks I just have a thing for Bruce Willis in the 90s, which is, we'll talk about that at a different time.
He was a stud in the 90s. I used to watch him on Moonlighting on TV.
Oh yeah. See, maybe that'll help. What? Okay. If you had to choose,
I would say probably
what just does it for you.
Probably the movies that really. I guess this was probably when I was coming out of my teenage years, and my mom and dad would bring me to the movies when I was a teenager, and never narrated our stuff, but pretty damn close. They weren't afraid to expose me to different kinds of movies. I would say a close second would probably be the Terminator series. 'Cause that movie really came out of nowhere. It was like an independent film. It was just this dark, gritty, futuristic come back from time to kill a person. I mean, I know they overplayed it, but I don't know, man. The last one I saw was not bad, but the whole Sarah Connor fiasco and how that story opened up, the Terminator series really opened my eyes to science fiction when I was getting into my adult years. But the Dude, everybody knows this answer because this movie just rocked my world, man. And that was the original Matrix. The blue and red pill. Are you kidding me? That scene where the chromium swallows him up and he transforms back into real life where he is an actual battery. He's just generating power in this big power plant for Cybertronic race. I mean, I can't put any movie above The Matrix, man. I mean, that movie rocked my world. It really messed with me, man. It did. I got a kind of a taste with Terminator, but then Matrix just blew it away. It really did, man. So I still try to compare sci-fi movies today to the original feeling I had when I watched the original Matrix. And so far it's been kind of tough.
So hard.
It's been kind of tough to beat that.
I look at animated movies now, and I try to put them back. I mean, I'll be 30 this year, so I'm not. I was born in the 90s. I got to watch a bunch of older movies. You know, my parents, their favorite movies. But like my favorite animated movie is probably Titan AE. Great movie. Kid's dad is like a scientist. Gives him a ring that shows him the map to the universe, where there's like this. Basically a traveler filled with like DNA and seeds and all this other stuff that they just got to find a planet, land it on there, save it. It's a whole story about going through it. It's like an hour and 45-minute long movie. It's nothing crazy. I'm still 99% sure that the Bungie devs are big Titan AE fans because the Vex and the big bads, I can't even think of their name right now. The big bads from Titan AE. They look exactly the same. I'll post a picture in the show feedback.
Oh, okay.
And it's hard for me to look at movies now and then look at movies from, you know, the 80s and 90s that I grew up on and try to equate to them. And it's like, it doesn't have the same feel. It doesn't, and maybe that's experiencing it for the first time or experiencing that feeling for the first time.
Right.
Is kind of that thing. But I'm in the same boat with you on that. But yeah. Question 2 for you. What is the worst movie you've ever seen, hands down? For me, it's gotta be Battlefield Earth 2000 or whatever the hell it's called with John Travolta. That movie is utter garbage. There's nothing good about it. The acting was terrible. The makeup was terrible. At one point, one of his tentacles is falling off his head. It's bad. It's a bad movie.
Oh man, you're not gonna like my answer.
He's gonna say Star Wars or something.
No. Actually, I think Matrix came out in 99, but probably the most boring movie, I mean, it literally just bored me to sleep, was Cry Macho. I know a couple years ago, Hazel and I had like our top 10 movies or worse. We had like our worst movie or something, and Cry Macho was my worst movie that year. It was Clint Eastwood was trying to be in a romantic, it just didn't make sense, man. The 90-year-old guy having a romantic relationship with a 58-year-old woman or something. It just didn't make sense. And it was so poorly written. It was just so boring. Cry Macho. That was such a bad movie, man. And I haven't really seen Clint Eastwood do much of anything else since that. Maybe that was a nail in his coffin. Not that he's dead, but that was pretty bad. But I tell you what though, man, being that I loved the Matrix series, they made this Jupiter Ascending movie. The Wachowski. Well, it's two sisters, Lana and Lily Wachowski. It used to be the Wachowski brothers back when they made this. Jupiter Ascending was really bad. I've never walked out of I very rarely walked out of a theater, but Jupiter Ascending was really bad. It was really bad. I'm looking at here. Yeah. The IMDb is 5.3 out of 10. That's 194,000 votes. It was bad.
That's the movie. It's got what? Channing Tatum, Mila Kunis.
Yes. I mean, they had good actors.
Eddie Redmayne, Sean Bean, I think, was in it.
Dude, the movie just didn't make sense. It didn't make sense. I was expecting a Matrix style movie, and I went in there and watched this. My wife were looking at each other. We're going, this is 2015. Okay. So this wasn't too far away. This is probably a year into Destiny, right? That was probably my all time worst movie. That I very rarely walk out of a movie theater And I would have walked out on Cry Macho, but my parents are with me, and oh my God, they had to endure that movie with me because I invited them to see it. I figured they would like it, you know, being Clint Eastwood. I would have walked out of that one, definitely, but my mom and dad were there, and so I couldn't do it. But Jupiter Ascending, we walked out. That's a 1 star. Okay. That's a half star for me.
It's a half star. I was
half star means I walked out. If I say anything's a half a star, I walked out. I didn't even finish watching it. Yeah.
Okay. And then last question for you, and then we can jump into stuff. What is a movie franchise or movie? Doesn't matter. You can choose either or. A movie franchise or a movie that everyone else loves that it just doesn't do it for you. Whether you hate it, the premise is ridiculous, you don't like it, whichever, just whatever it is for you that just doesn't work. For me, I don't know if I so much like, and this might speak a little bit to some of our listeners. I don't so much like the 50 Shades of Grey movies.
Yeah.
I don't understand them. The books, if you've read the books, yeah, they're out there, and that's what we'll say about it.
Right.
They're out there, but the books are good.
Right.
The movies just didn't make any sense, and it turned me off to the entire thing. Now that's a little different because it's a movie to a book adaptation, and I get that. But for you though, is what movie or movies or franchise or what have you that everyone else loves that it just doesn't work for you?
Okay. Yeah, I'm definitely, people are not going to agree with me on this, but that's the question, right? A movie that everyone loved, but I just couldn't stand. After Endgame, Avengers Endgame, anything else that came out was just terrible. I don't know what's going on with Marvel lately, but the stories are just so mailed in. And I know it's a superhero movie. I get that. I do. But man, other than Doctor Strange, I thought Doctor Strange was good. Guardians of the Galaxy, that was terrible. Even the Spider-Mans for me were getting just tired. Now, the anime or the animated version of Spider-Man I loved because the artistry was just fantastic. But the last Doctor Strange movie was terrible. The latest one that just came out, I'm trying to remember what the name of that one was.
Multiverse?
Multiverse yeah, it was terrible. Oh my God, it was horrible.
It should have just been Wanda and
Strange. Yes.
That movie was about her.
Yes. You know what it is, man? It's ever since Infinity War and then finally Endgame, it's like after that, everything just went to shit. It just went terrible. It just went downhill. And I don't know if they just ran out of stuff to write about or what, but, dude, even Far From Home,
Far From Home is,
it was okay.
The same. Far From Home is the same reason that we have Mountaintop and Midnight Coup and Edge Transit and all these, it's the nostalgia.
It is.
I think.
The problem is it didn't land with me. Now, the first Iron Man was fantastic. When Jon Favreau made that movie, back when I saw that movie long, I can't remember when that was, but that's what started it for me. I loved Iron Man series. Like I said, the latest Doctor Strange movie, I was so looking forward to that movie, man. It was just terrible. Yeah, that would be that's the closest I can come up with on the spot of movies that, I didn't even see Guardian of the Galaxy Volume 3. I didn't even see that one. I was just so over it. And I know Deadpool and Wolverine, I think, is the only Marvel movie coming out right now for this year coming up. That's what I heard.
I don't remember when, but it's supposed to be released this year. That'll be fun. That's supposed to be the big tie over for a lot of like the Fox. Yeah. Hopefully Sony as well. Probably just Fox though, and that side of it into the MCU. So we'll see. We'll see what happens there.
Yeah, throw me on the spot. That's the fastest I could come up with something. But that's the first thing that came to my mind was the latest Marvel movies, not the series, because some of the series had some merit, but a lot of the movies that we got released onto the major, the big screen, just weren't landing for me. And I know a lot of people love that stuff. So yeah.
Well, there you go. We finally got some questions answered. I know there's been some chatter in the Discords and stuff about what Gator's favorite movies are. Yeah. We all knew that it was going to be Matrix, but the Terminator thing is
I love Terminator.
That makes a lot of sense as well.
I love Terminator. Well, that was the prequel to Matrix, That was kind of what set me up for the Matrix. It did. I mean, that dystopian end of the world stuff, Anyway.
Howdy folks, this is MC Squared and you're listening to Guardian Downcast.
I'm flattered you asked me some questions, but man, we need to know more about you. 39 minutes into the show. Let's start with this. Where are you from? We already know you're in the pest control industry, but where are you from, man?
Yeah, originally from Texas. Military guy. Took me out to Hawaii for my first duty station. Brought me to Colorado. I really got the worst end of the deal on my two duty stations. It was terrible.
What branch?
Colorado and Hawaii. I was in the Army.
Army, okay, I got you.
But yeah, did that. Decided didn't want to go back to a little town of less than 1,000 people in Texas, so I decided I was going to stay in Colorado. And the beer up here is good. The food is good.
Oh, everything's
snowboarding is fun. I fell in love with the state, and I have not left.
I love that state. I visited twice now. I love Colorado. Fantastic state, and everything's new. Everything's so new. I know not everywhere it's new, but Denver
to include our highways. I've been working on 25 since I got here in 2016.
Okay,
it's been a pain.
Well, I mean, they do have to chisel. It's not like Florida where they just dig a hole with sand. They have to chisel through rocks, so I'm sure it's a little more difficult to do construction there than it is, say, in Florida. But you said you had a girlfriend. How long you been?
Yeah.
How long you guys been together?
A year and a half.
Okay.
Just moved in together at the end of January. I was renting. She bought a house, moved in with her, got my dog. My renting situation wasn't the greatest. I couldn't have a dog. So I sent my dog down to my mom's house, but I got her back.
Nice.
She's here. We went to the vet today. She's good for anybody who was wondering.
Kind of dog?
She's a pit boxer mix.
Ooh.
Her name is Athena. She will be 5 in September. I'll post a picture in the Discord here in a little bit.
She could probably jump like 6 feet high.
Actually, she's the laziest dog I've ever seen in my entire life.
Okay, she's not using her full potential as a boxer. Got it.
Yeah. If we had cameras on, you'd see her. She's laying on a folded up blanket right here behind me on the floor.
Well,
she's wearing a Broncos jersey.
I got a black lab Rottweiler mix, and she's the laziest dog, man. She farts and snores. And she's a brute. She's a brute. What's the, I know you said you were a kid of the 90s. What was your first video game? I mean, when did you get into video games, man?
Yeah. So, for those of you who don't remember, I was on the live show.
That's right.
Earlier this year, and I rambled so much. I apologize for that.
No, it was great. It was a great show. It was very memorable. I remember a lot of things. I talked to your dad, I think it was too. Your stepdad?
Yeah, my stepdad was in there. He jumped in and hung out for a little bit. But yeah,
good guy.
Earliest, like Duck Hunter. I mean, everyone is always
okay.
I played PS1, I played PS2, I played NES, I played N64, I played all that. Most memorable still has to be, I went to my stepdad and was like, hey, I want to buy a PlayStation. My older brother Cody said, hey, I want to do it as well.
Nice. We
went halvesies on it. We bought Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance on the PS2.
Man.
And
how late did you guys play that game in the night?
We would wait. So, and I'm sorry, my stepdad does follow the show, so I love you, Dad. I'm sorry, but he snored like a grizzly bear. He snored like a grizzly bear, so we just wait till we heard him snoring. And then we would turn around and we would be like, they're asleep. They're not going to hear shit. Nice. So we would turn on, lived on the opposite side of the house. So me and my brothers would turn it on. That and Dynasty Warriors.
Oh.
I grew up on that. Yeah.
I played them all the way up to 4, I think. 4, 6 maybe? Dude, hack and slash. That game was fantastic, man.
Yeah. Love that. Ran through all that. Then kind of jumped over to the Xbox side, played a lot of Halo growing up.
Okay.
A lot of Halo Reach, which is still probably the game that I think is probably the best video game ever made, in my opinion.
Okay.
Halo Reach was fantastic. Jumped back over to PS3 and played this might be dating myself a little bit, actually.
We already played
Mag.
Okay.
Yeah,
I remember
played
Mag. I tried to play that game. It was so bad, man.
Massive action game.
Yes.
2008, 2009 when I started playing it.
Yes.
I want to say it was like 256 people could be on a server together.
It was nuts.
It was wild.
But the problem was that it took the fidelity of the game down so badly because it had to have that bandwidth to get everybody in that one particular server. Oh, yep. I remember I was searching for shooter games back then because I was over Call of Duty. I was over Battlefield. I was looking for something fresh, and that's when MAG came out.
Yeah. And I think MAG kind of set the way for.
You think so?
What we have now. Yeah. What we have now for Battlefields.
Yeah.
Being that super big open world, a lot of people, a lot of craziness going on. You got to be able to figure things out.
Dude, I
want to say it was Blueberry Lounge.
You're the first person who's mentioned the game MAG and all the interviews I've done on gaming.
Yes.
That game was.
I'm excited about that actually.
That game was mixed.
It was a lot of fun,
but it was huge, man. It was definitely it was definitely something they were trying that broke the mold. Yeah,
and it was great. It really was. Was it 3 different factions? I don't remember the premise for the game. It was so long ago.
Yeah.
Three different factions. You had like a South American advanced military group. Mm-hmm. You had like the remnants of the U.S. military. Mm-hmm. And then you had like a Russian like mercenary group. That's so like you could run around with an M4. You could run around like a G8. You could run around with a 249. You could run around like an AK with like duct tape holding it together, which was wild to think about. Yeah, and then Call of Duty pretty much all the way through. I played every Call of Duty since the beginning. I played a lot of Joint Operations, Typhoon Rising, PC, using TeamSpeak to do it before Discord was a thing. I remember that. Did a lot of that.
Yep.
And then Skyrim took over my life for a little bit, and then jumped into Destiny when I got to my first duty station. Got a PS4. I explained that whole story.
Yeah, if you do you mind sharing that story again? Because some people didn't hear that live show. How did you originally found Destiny? That was a great story, man.
Yeah, so I got to Hawaii, and there was my NCO at the time. I won't say his name. My NCO at the time was getting ready to go to SF selection. He had said, "Hey, look, I have this pre-order for PS4. Do you want it?" And I was like, "Sure." So I got a PS4. And then he sent me an email and was like, "Hey, I have this. I signed up for this. I'm probably not going to be able to play it. Do you want this code?" And I was like, "Sure." So I got in on the alpha for Destiny 2, or Destiny 1. Sorry. Admiral Nips, I think is who it is, who gets upset by that.
I wasn't alpha either. I didn't get invited.
Yeah, I got invited into the alpha. I played that, and then I played the beta, and then I played since then.
Nice.
Terrific human being. Love that guy to death. Unfortunately he's no longer with us.
Yeah, that's what I remember.
But in response to him no longer being with us, we kind of did drop a Moab on a certain part of the world. So we got a little bit back. But yeah, great time getting into it. Loved it. And then kind of been here in Destiny ever since. But it was all because I had a leader in the world who decided that, you're a random kid, 13 hours flight from home, never been out of your town of 1,000 people. Here's a PlayStation. Here's this. Took great care of me. I still talk to his wife probably once a week. I send Christmas cards and gifts and things to his kids. It's been a good experience with that. I keep them updated on Destiny on what's going on. His kids play. I don't play with them yet because they're not allowed to have headsets. They're still too young. But
I got you.
Yeah.
I remember that story. I'm sorry, I forgot that he's no longer with us.
Oh no, yeah, it's fine. It was years ago. So you did great. That's
Destiny
good.
Probably has a place in your heart because it's something he probably wanted to play and never got the opportunity to play.
Yeah, and I will, regardless of what happens, and we'll get into that with the show topic tonight. Yeah. But regardless of what happens, I will see Destiny 2. I will see Destiny if potential Destiny 3, 4, 5, 6, however far it goes. I will see the story to the end. I will be here for that regardless.
Oh, yeah. Definitely. I
can't
wait to talk about this.
Doing a thing.
I've been thinking about that topic all day, all week. So, I'm definitely ready to jump in. If you were to pick one NPC in Destiny, which one would you pick as your favorite?
So I thought about this question quite a lot. I think it would have to be Rahul.
Really? Oh,
and the reason why. Yeah. So the reason why is because I can't really use the factions anymore. Because like Lakshmi would be cool. We learned her story.
Right.
The Dead Orbit guy would be awesome. You can't really use his story, but just the understanding of how things work and the knowledge base that the Cryptarchs have is kind of cool. How do they turn a legendary Ingram into an exotic Ingram D1? In D2 we don't have that, but in D1 we did.
Yeah, I remember that.
How did they do that? How is that a thing? What do they understand? There's a bunch of lore cards between Rahul and Ikora, and they're talking about him having this vast amount of knowledge on craziness. I think it would have to be Rahul that I would want to know. I'd want to get to know a little bit more. Just because I feel like he knows some stuff that maybe speculation-wise, but he knows some stuff that other people don't really, kind of lean into.
That answer surprised me. I thought it'd be something different. Okay. How did you originally find our Owl Sector Alliance community? Or even Guardian Downcast? Doesn't have to be specifically our community. How did you originally find out about us, man?
Yeah, I was listening to Guardians of Lore. Yeah. They like to say it, Guardians of Lore.
Shout out to Elemist and
shout out to Elemist and Orchid. Yeah, I was listening to them. Yeah, I listened to that episode. It was great. But yeah, I was listening to that, and I had started an episode of GDC, and I was like, well, this isn't what I was listening to, so I jumped back over, and I listened to it. When the episode ended, it went to the next podcast that was loaded, and it was you guys, and it was Hazel, and it was, I swear to God, he said, motherfucker, please.
Oh, he said that.
And I was like, I was like,
I never edited
hold on, what?
Yep.
I was like, what? And I stopped and I was like, well, I'm going to listen to this for a little bit. And this was what? November of last year. So whatever episode that was.
Okay.
Or no, before that.
Yeah, it was before that.
It was way before that because I joined the Discord in like August.
November 2022, probably.
Yeah, that might have been what it was.
Yeah.
But I heard it and I was like, oh shit. All right, I'm going to listen to this. And then I jumped in and I listened to the episode and I was like, well, this is kind of cool. I'm going to go back and listen. And I listened to every episode up to it. When I finished listening to everything up to the new episodes, I jumped into the Discord, and through that, I've heard everyone else. So I've jumped through the Owl Sector and all the Discords, listened to their stuff as well.
It's amazing. I'm looking at all the different communities that have branched out from Guardian Downcast and the Guardian Hub and Potato Thumbs podcast, and it's just fascinating how this all started, I'm just sitting there just reflecting today on all these communities out there, and yeah, a little sentimental. What do you main? Titan, Hunter, or Warlock?
Oh, Titan main all day, every day.
That's why I thought you were going to pick Zavala as your favorite NPC.
Oh, no. Zavala is cool. I can't get past the whole Lance Reddick passing and
it was rough.
recasting him.
Yeah, Keith David.
I can't do that.
Or no, David Keith. Why do I keep it's so easy to mix those guys up, and they're two totally different guys too.
Yeah, they are.
God, totally different. Yeah. Oh, what is it about the Titan you love so much, man?
So when I started getting real heavy into video games with all of my buddies and stuff, it was Division 1, being in the military. I just liked being able to tank stuff. And then Anthem came out after Destiny 1 had come out, but Anthem had come out, and I liked being able to be a tank. I enjoyed it. Played a lot of Smite and League of Legends. I liked being the tank. So I was like, Titans, they gotta be the tank character. That makes the most sense of what's gonna happen. I jumped in. And then I just fell in love with it. Being able to protect my friends with my bubble, that was beautiful. That's like the most tank thing you could do. And then having that DPS super, at least at the time. Right. Now we have Curious of the Falling Star and everything else, but at the time, having a DPS super, so if somebody else was jumping in and we had another Titan that wanted to tank, if you guys have ever played any kind of MOBA, you don't have more than one tank. So I liked being able to kind of switch up and do other things, and Titan in my head was the one that could do it the best, and it kind of fit my playstyle better.
Yeah, the movement is freeing. I mean, after playing a floofy Warlock forever, jumping on a Titan is night and day. Yeah, definitely. What's your activity? What do you enjoy most playing in the game Destiny?
So if you had asked me this question a couple years ago, would have been Gambit Prime, and it would have been, what was it called, Reckoning.
Right.
terrific. I love it. We won't get into it.
I miss it too.
I love Gambit. Gambit is so much fun. Everyone talks crap on Gambit. It is the most fun to do. In my head, it's the lowest risk to reward. I'm not putting a lot of time in. I'm not getting a lot out of it. I can hang out. We can BS. I can do different things. I can try new builds. I can do anything that I want to in Gambit. If I win, I win. If I lose, I lose. Okay, cool. I don't care. It's not a big deal to me.
Yeah.
Nightfalls and stuff, you put too much into it. If you fail it, you die too many times, you're done.
You're done. Back to orbit.
Raids, you're done. Crucible, I jump into Crucible. I got a positive KD. I'll jump into Crucible, but it's just, there's something about having a PvE, like a low risk PvE kind of content that just kind of strikes my fancy a little bit, where I don't have to worry too much. That's really what it is. Shout out to Stormcrow and the Dino Nuggy guys for running that Gambit tournament. That was a lot of fun.
That was fun.
I was in the only LFG group that participated, and I think we came in third. I think not bad. Yeah, I think Panda actually, like in the middle of it, he had to go.
Yeah.
LFG, some guys were doing their own thing for a little bit, but we came in third. So shout out to the.
Yeah, that was fun. That was a fun tournament. I don't get to play often on Saturdays, and it was fun just to get giddy and just jump around and be foolish on a weekend. It was fun. We just did it for fun. I mean, there were some solid teams in there that would just wipe the floor with us.
I don't know who the team who won was.
I think it was Technical's team.
Yeah, Technical's team.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
I think we were at like 50 motes, and they were like halfway through primeval damage.
Man. It was
and
crazy.
they hadn't invaded. They didn't invade.
Oh my God, they didn't invade.
And I was like, oh, well, you can run it back. I don't think they invaded until we invaded them first. And even watching them in the final game, I don't think they invaded until somebody invaded them. They were just like, no, we're just gonna outplay you.
Yeah.
Dude, shout out to the HVTs that we played with.
Hell yeah, man.
That I played with. HVTs, sorry boys, my ad clear was trash. But when Dino Nuggies run this again, we'll put up a better fight, I promise. We'll do better in third.
Oh hell, that's not bad, man. Third's not bad for an LFG team, you know? So good deal, man. Yeah, that was fun. I know everyone has problems with their vaults now. I don't know if you're one of these people, but my vault's always near 600. Is there a weapon in your vault? It could be sunset, or it can be a current weapon or whatever that you just will refuse to delete, and why? Do you have sunset weapons?
I have one. I think it's the OG Chattering Bone, actually.
Okay. It's a good
I think that's what it is.
It's a solid pulse.
But for sure, there's one gun that I will not get rid of. I held on to it to include the armor from back then. I didn't hold on to anything else with like a goofy turd. But I have the original D2 Red War Vanilla Campaign Traveler's Chosen. The damaged Traveler's Chosen, it doesn't even pull up a light level. Wow. It's null. It is 0. So I have that, and I have the armor, the original Titan armor I have that for that and my Warlock.
Nice.
I didn't start a Hunter until way later, but
yeah, we talked about
I have the original zero armor and the original 0.
Well, it's the armor the armor that you have when Gaul kicks you off the ship, right?
I can't. Yeah, it is. I can't get rid of it.
You're limping. You're wilting along,
and it's broken, and it just looks. It looks like you've been through hell.
You look
which
pathetic.
You quite literally at that point have.
I miss those days, man. I was talking about this last week on the round table. The UK round table this needs to be the story that new players play, but that's another. I can go down a rabbit hole. I already said my piece on that. If Bungie assigned you a small but versatile dev team to you, what would be the first thing you'd work on for Destiny 2?
It in my head, it feels kind of like an easy answer, but kind of jumping back to the UK roundtable thing, I definitely think it'd be the new player experience.
Yeah.
I definitely think it would. I 100% agree with a lot of things you guys talked about, but I feel like there's too much in your face coming into the game for the first time. You log in and there's 1,000 things getting thrown up. I've got some buddies that I used to play D1 and early D2 with that I play Helldivers with now. And I'm like, boys, you guys are on PC. Get on. You can third-party websites, get it for cheap. You can buy the new stuff, get it for a fraction of what it would cost most console players. And I've had a couple of them jump in, and there's just so much that hits them right from the beginning of go do this, go do this, go do this. And like, even if it was summarized, I would want it to be the DLCs that we've gotten over the years.
Right.
Even a summarized portion of those campaigns.
Yeah, I mean,
would be nice.
Just have a legacy tab or something on the director where they can go and replay those missions. And include the mission and the cutscene, anything that was pertinent to the mission. It didn't have to be any of the filler missions. You just put the major ones in there, and you get or like Destiny does it. You jump on. I don't know when the last time you looked at Destiny was, but you jump on Destiny and every campaign mission is right there in front of your face. I just logged in.
You can see it. Yeah, it overloads the mini map, but at the same time, like if you start it, it tells you where to go next. If you start a random mission, it says, "Hey, go to this one next. This is the continuation." And that's nice. I like the idea of them giving people I'll get from the Thunder God or whatever for Onslaught, getting everybody up to power. I enjoy that. Get everybody up. And then the new player experience now is you can go do the crazy, off-the-wall, ridiculous Shao Han quests, or you can jump in with a buddy and hope they can explain stuff.
Right. And get the 1810 instantly, yeah.
And get the 1810 instantly. And I get that, but at the same time, like... I just wish that the new player experience was better, and there was even if it was more cutscenes, even if it was like I did one mission and had to watch 10 minutes of cutscenes.
Right.
I think I personally would be okay with that because now I know the story. Now I know what's going on. I know what I'm fighting for as a guardian. I know why I'm here.
Yeah, it's the one thing I realized when I logged into Destiny 1. I did it actually when I got home today from dinner. I wanted to check on something, but I saw all of these replayable missions. I was like, man, we take that for granted. We don't have that in Destiny 2. It's all about what's going now in the season, I mean, as far as I know, you can't go back and play a lot of these missions. Once you play them and you're done with them, they don't pop back up anywhere. I don't think. My thinking, is that right? Making sure I'm not in game. I can't look, but
no, I think it's just the 3 or 4 little missions that they give you with like the catch-up thing.
Right.
I think that's it.
Wow.
And that was relatively new.
Yeah. So, yeah, I agree, man. Yeah, new players. You were talking about the onboarding process for Helldivers 2, and I was like, man, if Destiny only did something like that, where you jump in solo and they just warm you up to it, Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't understand it.
So with the Helldivers thing, you jump in, it says, hey, this is how you throw a grenade. This is how you shoot. This is how you call in a stratagem. This is how you dive. This is how you crouch. You're done. There's nothing crazy extra to it.
Well, yeah,
Destiny doesn't have that simplicity.
Yeah, I know.
They have the lore. They have the stuff that goes on.
Much. It's so much, man.
That gives you that want to fight. That gives you that. I don't know about you, but when Gaul kicked me off the top of that spaceship and I hit the ground, I was almost in tears. I was like, bro, what why? That was like, that hurt.
No,
that was a big deal.
Hit me the same way.
That was a big deal.
I thought, oh my God, we just lost. That's the first thing I remember. I just lost. I just lost the game.
Yeah, that was it.
I even went back and played it again and figured if there's another way I could do it where that cutscene wouldn't appear. And nope, every time.
Yeah. It was the only time realistically that we have felt like we weren't the literal walking gods that we are. And that meant something to us. It gave us something as players to fight for and want to work for. And that was so much fun. It was so much fun. And I don't know, it makes me a little upset that like the people who are jumping into Destiny now don't get to experience that.
Yeah.
They don't get to see that, whether they're returning or they're just coming in and they do a mission, get kicked off. I mean, hell, even at that point, well, who is this guy to kick me off a spaceship? I just met him.
Mm-hmm.
I logged into Destiny 2, for this game. I just did this first mission. What the hell?
Yep.
Give them a little animosity toward it, something. But go to the EDZ for 3 quests. That's not a thing.
Average Destiny 2 player and I both started a brand new account and ran the revised version with the Guardian ranks. Yeah, we were talking about that in the last roundtable as well. So yeah, there's a lot to cover there, man. It's a lot. A few signature questions before we wrap this up. Do you have any other hobbies other than gaming?
Yeah. As I mentioned in the live show, I write poetry.
Poetry, that's right. I remember you telling me that.
I like to say I'm pretty good at it. I try not to inflate my head too much. As of March 22nd, I got the amateur poetry for the state of Colorado. I am currently 22. So I'm working hard. But I write poetry. I like watching TV shows, hang out with the dog. Big one would be I love to cook. One of my favorite things on the planet outside of music. Music and food bring people together regardless of the situation or regardless of your thoughts or feelings.
Right.
I like to listen to music of all types, and I like to eat food. I don't care what it is. I love to cook it. If I can't cook it and you can cook it for me, cook it. I'll eat it with you.
Nice. Yeah, you lost me at food, but I like all the other stuff. I don't like cooking. I like eating. I don't like cooking. Dude, what's up with that gamer tag? Sithdaddyfresh. I
love the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. It's one of my favorite TV shows of all time. It's just, it's one of those things like earlier we talked about with your movie thing.
Mm-hmm.
It hits every facet for me. And I was like, I love Star Wars. I love the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. I love this. I love that. And I tried to kind of combine everything over, and I wasn't clever enough to come up with something. So I found some random numbers generator gamer tag creator thing online.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, what are your interests? And I started typing some stuff in, and it popped up, and I was like, well, there it is right there. Sithdaddyfresh. I love it. Let's do it. It's good.
That's
I'll take
not bad for a random number or random name generator. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, so I've just been running with it for the last couple of years.
It's very memorable.
I don't think I'm going to change it.
Yeah, I mean, you stand out in Discord, man. We know when Sithdaddyfresh is in the Discord. You can't miss that name.
And disclaimer again for everybody. If you're with me in game, it says daddy. That is a completely different... Actually, I'll explain that because... hold on.
Please.
I thought it was funny because I joined a random LFG, and there was a lady that was in there with us. Her name was Mommy.
Oh my God.
And it was funny, and it was the only female in a raid for 6 people. She was the only female with 5 other males, and
right.
Her name was Mommy, and we were all like, Mommy, will you pick me up? I'm down. And it was like, it didn't click to us until halfway through, and it just made us laugh. And I was like, well, I'm going to take the idea. And then I kind of spit it to a bunch of buddies, and they were like, no, dude, that's super sus, whatever.
Super cringe. Is that what they said?
Yeah, super cringe. And I was like, I mean, I like it, though. It's kind of funny. And then
Daddy Daddy
exactly.
killed you in the Crucible.
I swapped it on Bungie, and it was funny because I jumped in with my clan guys, and they were just seeing me, so they turned to my gamer tag, and they knew who I was, but they were like, hey, Daddy, and it was just funny. The guy who did it the first time was probably 50 years old. He was like, hey, Daddy, come help. And I fucking busted out laughing. I couldn't contain it. It was hilarious. I thought about changing it, but all he seen was the daddy in the middle of my name.
Right.
So when they let us change our names again, I was like, oh, no, that's what it's going to.
Yeah.
So I was awake as soon as the update dropped. I threw it in first thing. It's the second time I've done that. But I threw it in there because it's funny. If people don't know, they have to say it, and it just makes everyone laugh. And to me, it brings that goofy, kind of laughter and nonsense to a raid, to an activity that you wouldn't expect for it to be there. So
sure.
I just kind of keep it.
I remember that story. That's cool. That's cool. A couple more questions. Do you have a motto or mantra that you live by? I think I asked you this in the live show as well, but
you did. I will not use that one.
They might not have heard it. They might not have heard the live show a ways back.
Do you want me to use that one again? Because it's got a lot of F words in it.
It's you tonight. You tell me what you want to, whatever your motto or mantra is.
So there's really two of them. One is Robin Williams back in the day, and I'm not quoting him for absolute certain, but Robin Williams back in the day, back in the 90s, said, "You don't know what someone else is going through. You don't know what they're dealing with. Try to make somebody laugh. Try to make them smile." And as an individual who's dealt with some things in my life, I decided, okay, cool. Instead of being the asshole, the guy who's going to be mean and rude and disrespectful, try to make someone laugh. Try to make them smile. Try to tell them a joke, because you don't know what they're going through. That could be the only joke they hear today. That could be the only smile that they smile today. That could be the last joke that they hear today. So just try to be a better human. Try to be a better person. Try not to be a dick. Try to make people laugh. Try to make people smile. It builds camaraderie. It builds unity. You build a greater world off of it. And then the other one is a little bit more rude, I guess is the best way to put it. It's basically it's try not to worry about what other people say about you, what they say to you about you behind closed doors to their friends, whatever. If they do not fuck me, feed me, finance me, I don't care. I don't care what you have to say. If you don't do two of those three things, I'm not going to pay attention to it.
I remember that one. Nice.
My girlfriend does one of those. Right. Get a little X-rated here for a second. But she also feeds me. You know what I mean? So there's two or three right there. She doesn't finance me. I got my own job. But if you don't do two of those three things in my everyday life, I'm not going to care about what you have to say. I'm not going to pay attention to it. I'm not going to listen to you. There's a lot of people in this world who want to have their own personal opinions and personal agendas that they want to push on everyone else to get their point of view across. And I just don't see it as doing that way. Be your own person, be you, be great, and we'll figure it out. And it'll be a better world at the end.
I like that. I like that saying. I do. It's kind of what I think too sometimes. Final question. And feel free to share whatever you want here, man. But what is one thing about you that our community might not know about you?
I'm tall, but I think I said that. I did say that in the live show.
I know you look like M-Tashed. When I saw you in the live show, I was like, dude, you look just like M-Tashed. I think you even had your hat backwards. I was like,
you're not the only person.
You look like M-Tashed. I thought you were M-Tashed, just impersonating, using a different name or something.
I was at a customer's house and they were gamers. Their entire basement was turned into a big game room.
Nice.
And when I knocked on the door, the guy looked at me and I was like, hey. And I was like, hey, my name's so-and-so. I'm with this company, blah, blah, blah. And he was like, hey, how you doing? And I was like, what's with the look? He just looked at me kind of weird. And he goes, you just kind of look like that guy M-Tash.
M-Tashed here.
And that was like a week and a half ago. So that's really funny that you say that.
I cannot never forget it, man. Just the way you approach the camera, I was like, dude, he looks just like M-Tashed. He just doesn't live in Canada.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't. Pretty much an open book. Ask me anything. I'll tell you anything. There's no reason for me to hide who I am or what I've done, who I've been.
All right. Well, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll tell you what. I ask you this privately in chat. And I don't know if you have something you want to share or not, but do you have, I know all you military guys have really good stories to tell. Do you have a short story that you might want to share from your time in service?
I came from a small town in North Texas. Less than 1,000 people. That's where I did most of my growing up. I graduated high school. I joined the military from it. I had never been around a lot of people of color at all. And when I joined the military, that was a culture shock for me. I wasn't like racist or prejudiced or anything. Like, they're a human being. I'm going to treat you like a human being. But that was something that was new for me to learn and new for me to understand. And I didn't really get why that wasn't like an understood thing across the board. Why that wasn't an understood and seen thing across the board. I went on deployments And there I'll say fortunate because I love her to death. Wallace, she does not listen to this, but I will not use her first name. Wallace was like the second or third female into field artillery in U.S. Army history. It was weird coming from a unit that didn't have females and then coming to a unit that did have females and then deploying where I had to take a little bit of time and kind of take a step back and say, okay, cool. Well, there's biologically something going on with her once a month that I have to take into account. And I say all of this to say, like, I did not know what it meant or even what it felt like to be outside of that small town America, small town mindset, thought process, the whole nine. I had no idea. And the military definitely helped open my eyes to what the world actually is and understanding different, I don't want to say shortcomings because I feel like that's the wrong word to use, but disadvantages that some people are given and they deal with. I didn't get to see that. And if I'd stayed in that hometown, I guarantee you I would never have got to experience it. Whether it be firsthand or secondhand or through friends or whatever. The military helped me grow and understand a little bit more about the world and a little bit more about the country that I've fought for a couple times and kind of do it that way.
Good deal, man. Good deal. Well, hey, Sithdaddyfresh, thanks for sharing your life with us tonight, brother. Appreciate it. Really do. It's a good interview. Well, I can't let you off that easy.
I know.
We got to do the speed run, man.
I know.
The speed run. And we're going to do that right after this.
Call the Praxic Order, call the Thanatonauts, the Ginseng Scribes, call everyone so they can witness you.
All right, boys and girls, this segment is called the speed run. This is where we have a database of over 800 possible questions for our guest. And these questions, many of them were submitted by our community. Sithdaddyfresh is going to have 2 minutes to answer as many as he can. Like I said, they're short 1 or 2 word answers. And at the end of the year, the guest with the most answer will win a prize and title of 2024 Speedrun Champion. The questions are custom curated by me, so no one can memorize the order. And my digital assistant on my phone here will help me with the timer. Nico, a.k.a. Jersey. Man, he has been at the top for a while now. He is our current leader at 48 questions answered. So what do you think, Sith? Is this the night?
I hope so.
Just do your best, man. We'll be fine. And don't think too much. Don't think too much. Just answer.
That's what tripped me up in a live show. I took 15 seconds to say Earth.
You'll be fine, man. All right, here we go. You ready?
Yes, sir. Let's do it.
3, 2, 1. Warlock, Titan, or Hunter?
Titan.
Hand towels or air dryer?
Air dryer.
Void, solar, arc, stasis, or strand?
Solar.
If you could live anywhere in the world, where would it be?
Italy.
Boba Fett or Mando?
Boba Fett.
Controller or mouse and keyboard?
Controller.
Sidearm, auto rifle, or sniper?
Auto rifle.
Strikes, Crucible, or Gambit?
Gambit.
Are you an AMC Stubbs member?
No.
Quest or RNG?
Quest.
If you could choose, who would voice your ghost?
Peter Dinklage.
Twab or Twid?
Twab.
Human, awoken, or exo?
Exo.
Precision or spray and pray?
Spray and pray.
Is Scum Death your uncle?
Yes.
What's your favorite Destiny planet?
Earth.
Pineapple on pizza?
No.
Vex, Cabal, or Fallen?
Cabal.
What's your favorite armor or weapon mod?
Astra's Assets.
What's the best sandwich?
French dip.
What armor slot to use as an exotic?
Chest.
Kill Clip or Head Seeker?
Kill clip.
Icoricate or Zavala?
Zavala.
TV or monitor?
Monitor.
What number am I thinking of?
37.
Apple or Android?
Apple.
Describe yourself in one word.
Fun.
Destiny 2 seasonal events, yes or no?
Yes.
What's one thing you own that needs to be thrown out?
Trash.
And what's the worst job you've ever had?
Pest control.
Is chili soup?
No.
Do you have a tattoo?
14.
Simpsons or South Park?
A South Park.
Favorite drink?
A beer.
Apple or Android?
Apple.
Solo or fire team?
Fire team.
Gas, electric, or diesel?
Gas.
Can you drive a stick shift?
Yes.
Xbox, PC, or PlayStation?
PlayStation.
Do aliens exist?
Yes.
Favorite music genre?
EDM.
Star Trek or Star Wars?
Star Wars.
Hamburgers or hot dogs?
Hamburgers.
Stay in or go out?
Go out.
Sword or shield?
Shield.
Destiny 1 or 2?
1.
Hot iced coffee or hot coffee or iced coffee?
Iced coffee.
Fashion or function?
Fashion.
Is Laz your lawyer?
He is.
Oh, I'm in a pickle here. Because I messed that question up. The timer gave up at 48. And I gave you one more. This may be contested, but I'm going to give you it, man, because I messed up that question pretty bad. We were cruising pretty good. 49 questions. Tonight was the night. Nico's probably going to protest this, so I'm sure we'll have to have a speed run off at the end of the year.
A speed run off?
Unless someone beats you both, then yeah. But right now,
I think it'll happen. What Sin hit 56 last year?
He hit 55 last year.
55. Yeah.
Let me look. Hold on, I wrote it down.
I think somebody will.
Yeah.
I think somebody will. They're
you know
quick.
what? For now, and I'm sure Nico's like, you know what? I'll pass the belt. That's fine. Or he may not. I don't know. He's pretty competitive, but it was really close, Nico. I'd like to say you're both tied, but I think in fairness, I really messed up that question. So I'm going to say 49 tonight. So is Laz your lawyer? That was the last question for number 49. So congrats. You are our new speedrun champion so far in 2024. There's a lot of year left, but right now you are a champion. So thanks. Good luck, man. Good job.
Yeah, I like to thank the Academy for this beautiful award. I'd like to thank my producer. I'm just kidding.
It's just for fun. I mean, but it's,
I know
the way I see it, and when Hazel and Easy and all of us started this, it was the fastest way we could interview someone. And, of course I got to give props to Dan Finity. He's the one that came up with the original, I think they called it, he did something very similar, but it wasn't random. It was the same questions he asked at every show, but I think it was Copper Lines. Sorry, Dan. I can't remember what it was called, but, I know you don't do it anymore, but that was such a great idea. So congrats, man. As of now, you are our leader at 49 questions answered. So, hey,
I'll take it.
Hey, listener, I got a great question for you. Do you have a great speedrun question for our segment? If that's a yes, join our Discord and enter them in our speedrun question ideas channel, and we'll add them to next year's speedrun. Just remember, they need to be yes or no, 1 or 2 word answers. Either or questions will also be accepted. And the only long form question I really like is what's your favorite? At the end of the year, we're going to have 2 more drawings for a $25 gift card of your choice, and you can enter up to 5 questions to go into that drawing. So let's hear it, and good luck. Well, Sithdaddyfresh, that means it's time for this week in Destiny.
At Bungie? Oh.
Almost. Gotta be quick.
I thought.
No, you gotta be quick, man.
Hey, it's Brittany, your favorite mod, and you're listening to Guardian Downcast.
All right, this week in Destiny for April 18th, 2024. It's a fairly short TWAB, not a whole lot to talk about this week, but there is some important stuff I want to mention. The final shape is going to have a clan update. They're going to have like a level up bar, and you can prestige it for rewards. Engrams, it looks like enhancement cores, your replacement staves, ascendant shards, and ascendant alloys. And the one thing I did want to mention here is, being that there's going to be a vendor reputation track now for Hawthorne for clans, the Guardians can earn a clan reputation by completing activities, higher difficulty activities, giving more progress, and playing with clanmates, giving a large bonus to the progression of it. That's how you move that bar up. But the one thing is, clan bounties are also getting some love. With the Nightfall bounty no longer requiring clan level 6 to claim, it's going to be available right away. There will also be 2 new bounty types one for seasonal content, and one for dungeons. And they say that all clan bounties will also grant some clan reputation. And here's how the clan levels are being revamped. They're changing it up going into Final Shape. When you reach clan level 2, raid banners sold from Hawthorne cost less. When you hit raid level 3 in the clan, the first clan bounty completed each week grants an exotic engram. That's nice. When you reach level 4, the raid rotator challenges grant spoils of conquest. I like this. And trials wins will grant additional trials reputation. That's good. Clan level 5, you earn bonus crafted weapon XP from completing ritual playlist activities. Okay. And then level 6, called Alloy Completionist, completing all clan challenges in a week grants an Ascendant Alloy. Not bad. It's a little bit better than the 7 enhancement cores you get every week. So I'm liking this. This isn't bad. Lastly, Clan XP is getting a rework on the back end to be more consistent, along with some XP source tuning. So players should have an easier time consistently earning XP for their clans. If you've never been in a clan, now's a great time to hop in and meet some new friends. Now, the one thing I will mention, and when I first heard that they were making changes to the clan system, sorry guys, clans are still limited to 100 players. So we still have our 3 separate clans. We have Guardian Town Cast, GDC 2, and GDC 3. But I will mention that we do have some space in all 3 of these clans. So if you're really wanting to get into a clan going into Final Shape, or you want to jump in right now and start getting the benefits of playing with the clan and start getting your clan engrams and stuff, just go to our Discord, discord.gg/GuardianDownCast, and just mention yourself, or actually just at a community moderator, and give them your gamer tag if it's different than the one in the Discord, and they will see your request to join and open the door. Fireteam Finder is no longer in beta. They've tested it back and forth, and I've heard a lot of good things about Fireteam Finder. So going into the Final Shape, it will not be a beta anymore. It'll be fully integrated into the game. Destiny 2 Into the Light going in to Final Shape. Well, to start, they want to highlight that the content that will only be available during Destiny 2 Into the Light, and that is the Pantheon activity and emblems. They said Pantheon is a raid boss gauntlet that will be available from April 30th to June 3rd. Man, that's not a lot of time. With Pantheon, we wanted to create a unique and challenging event that players could test their mettle against prior to our big battle in the Final Shape. Pantheon will offer a chance to earn a variety of emblems, and similar to the limited time emblems we've made available in past contest raids, we expect the exclusivity of these emblems will make them highly sought after. I agree, the emblems look really good. The Godslayer title, earned through the Pantheon event, and the Brave title, earned through the Into the Light triumphs getting completed right now, will also be limited time rewards. As in the case with Moments of Triumph, these titles are meant to commemorate a unique moment of time and show other players your accomplishments during Destiny 2 Into the Light. When you see these in the future, you'll know these are the Guardians that stood tall as we prepared to battle the Witness. As you know, what they are referring to as the shiny weapons from Into the Light, those will only be available up until Final Shape, or June 3rd. So if you're trying to farm those bright weapons, those nice shiny weapons that have the extra perks, now's the time to do it. Now's the time to farm it, guys. So keep that in mind. Remember the 3 new PvP maps? They're arriving on May 7th. Man, that's only a couple weeks away. I can't wait. I forgot to mention Sithdaddyfresh. Hey man, do you do bounties?
Typically I don't. Unless it gives me reputation with whatever vendor it is. So if there's, especially now in Onslaught, there's ridiculous amounts of reputation you can get with Shaxx for that.
Yes, there is.
I've been doing those, but
okay.
Typically I don't. It's not like a big deal for me. Like if I jump on and whatever I'm deciding I'm going to go do is, that's the bounty that's there. I'm not the one who's going to go out and like buy the additional bounties. If it's on their front page, I'll pick them up and I'll go do them. But other than that, no, not really. I mean, now this Onslaught season is what I'm going to call it. I'm going to coin it, actually. coin it the Onslaught season. Let's
Okay.
do it. But yeah, with Onslaught, I do the.
Well, you do
99
gunsmith bounties, right? Because those give reputation.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
I take it in the aspect of there's so many vendors who have bounties,
but they don't
there's
give any
very
XP.
few of them that give you reputation, not XP, reputation to.
That's right.
Them. So if he gives me reputation, I'll jump on. I'll pick him up. But if not, all right, cool.
I totally agree. I've mentioned this in the past that when they took that away, they just took all of our motivation for people to. I mean, my God, man. All right, I won't go into it, but yes, I'll accept your answer. Even though you don't do other bounties, I guess that's close enough. I'll take that as a yes, maybe. I did want to mention before we go here that Destiny 2 Into the Light, they did fix the servers. They wanted to give a brief explanation of what caused the launch day issues and how we plan to avoid similar issues for the launch in the final shape. In a nutshell, they had an old system they were using, and they have a singular system they use now that's supposed to work faster. That's the TLDR. I think it's all we need to know. Is shit was broken. Now they fixed it. So there we go. But speaking of that, Sithdaddyfresh, what's going on in the player support report this week, man?
Yeah, no, I'm reading through it. Don't see anything out of the ordinary. Oh, right here. Players are experiencing issues where shit is broken. Right there. Yeah,
There
bottom little tab.
Yep, I see it. Well done. All right. We have some pretty cool, a pretty cool comic and artist of the week. Check that out at bungie.net, and movie of the week. And that is it. Thank you, Destiny 2 community team. But more importantly, I really am looking forward to what we're doing next. And that is our topic of the week. Be right back.
Hey, this is Mr. Monkey, not Killer Monkey, not Monocle Monkey, Mr. Monkey. Get your bounties done. You're listening to Guardian Downcast.
For our topic of the week, it's been everywhere. Everyone has been talking about the Destiny 3 speculation. I mean, there's been a leak in Reddit. I talked about this in the Roundtable UK edition last week. How there's been a pretty credible source out there that says that Bungie has already been working on Destiny 3 since Witch Queen, which means they've already had 2 years to start working on this game. And I'm just curious, Sith, since you weren't here last week, I want to hear your take, man. What do you think the future of this game, Destiny, and I'm not even going to put a number on it. Where do you think Destiny's going to go after Final Shape wraps? Where do you think we're going, man? You have any ideas or any theories on where you think the game's going to go?
I'm going to respectfully disagree with part of, and I'm not going to say names and call anyone out. Respectfully disagree with part of the UK Roundtable on the backstory side of it. I don't want that.
You don't want an all brand new world, fresh characters, fresh everything.
No, I do, but I don't want it to be a backstory. I don't want the Battle of the Six Fronts.
Okay, you don't want to go back.
I don't want any of that. I don't want to go. I want a backstory. I don't care. My Guardian was not there.
Gotcha.
I don't care.
I just wanted to clarify that. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. I don't care. I don't want it. Give me something that my Guardian's going to go into. Right. So, Destiny, original game, there is a Grimoire card. Somebody in the lore, please correct me if I'm wrong. I want to say it was the Ghost Fragment 3. They talk about there being a ghost who's floating out in space. There's they feel the light coming, they wake up, and then the ships of the tower come through. And they see it, they feel it, they understand what's going on in the whole nine. But they're talking about it as if they're outside of the solar system. I don't want a backstory for Destiny 3. I don't. Don't give that to me. Now there's this fancy little, like, 4 pillars where you're looking out on like a cosmos thing that you can find on YouTube, and they're talking about, oh, this is that and this is this. No, I don't really care what that is. You found a cool guy thing that could be a strike. I'm not worried about what it is.
Mm-hmm.
But I've seen a bunch of things in the last couple of days that are talking about, well, this could be where our Guardian dies. And because they're outside of the, I guess, perceived ventricle of time, we would end up getting the same closeout that we would get from like Saint 14 and everybody else. We're in the halls of time in like the first season or second season we had early D2. I don't want any of that. I don't care for any of that. Let me go fight the big bad outside the solar system. Let me go do that. Give me the opportunity to go against exactly what Zavala has said. And as we all know, Zavala has told every step of the way, hey, don't, hey, don't, hey, don't. We've done it. He hasn't liked it. But this season and last season, we've had a lot of lore about Zavala talking to Elsie and saying, hey, I want to know a little bit about, Strand. I want to learn more about Strand. He's starting to give us that idea that he wants to warm up. So my speculation is that we're not going to move into a prequel side of what's going to happen. That either A, we're going to die, and we're going to see the Halls of Time or whatever it was with Young Wolf's Howl or whatever it is on top of our casket, and we're going to hear Saint 14 talking about us, and that's going to be a thing. And then there's going to be something like we die before the Traveler gets to give out his last breath, and then we're going to be the last bit of his power, and we're going to go through, and then we're going to jump out and go do something for Destiny 3.
Okay.
We're going to jump out and do something outside of the solar system. I mean, the Drifter, if you guys... In Gator, I know. This was a part of it before I'd written this before. You had talked to the UK guys when they were talking about the lore for Drifter.
Right.
And how that would make you sad and how that would almost bring a tear to your eye. I really, really hope that they push us outside of the system. And they push us away from what we have right now being the imbalance, is what I'll say, of light and dark. Whether we take care of the witness and move forward, or we save the Traveler and move forward, whether we're light or dark or we're just dark. I really hope that we push forward in the aspect of exploring the systems around us that we hear about in the lore for the game. I really, really hope we do. Because we still have to go back to the Hive home world. We still have to go back to the Cabal's home world. We still have to go do stuff outside of the system. I mean, in the Drifter's lore cards, he talks about there being a planet that's so cold, and there being beings that walk the planet that's that they suppress light, and how we can't do anything against them, and how they devised a way to be able to do something. I really hope we get a chance to go and see some of the stuff that some of these older, I don't want to say Guardians, but some of these older, Guardians, they've had the chance to experience, they've had the chance to see and do. Not a prequel, but we jump back out and do that.
See, someone in the, I can't remember who it was in the UK roundtable said that, what if the Traveler is the enemy the whole time and we fight and destroy the Traveler as well? I'm thinking if we destroy or, mitigate, we know that word very well being in the pest control industry, we mitigate the witness, and then the Traveler ends up being the enemy, according to the speculation from one of our other members, was on the UK roundtable last week. We're not going to have light or dark powers. So where does that leave us as Guardians? When we're revived by our ghost, does our ghost even survive? Because if I remember correctly, our ghost at one point at the end of the Lightfall mission, when we defeated Callus, spoiler alert, our ghost is mesmerized and pulled in to, I guess I don't even know what to call it. I don't know if the witness was drawing it in, the dark side was drawing it in, or it was something else. But when I saw that cutscene, I figured our ghosts are very vulnerable. And I'm just wondering, if we lose the light and dark saga, how do we survive going forward? You see that cutscene where Zavala dies and gets revived and dies and gets revived. Going into a Destiny 3, how do we carry that with us where we have a chance to get revived again? Because that was our main power as a Guardian, was the fact that we couldn't die. Unless someone shot our ghost, of course. What do you think about that, man? Where does that put us? If the Light and Dark saga ended at the end of the raid, and Final Shape, where do we go from there as far as where our powers come from? I know we're going to have the prismatic, where we're going to be able to blend light and dark together, but that doesn't really tell us much where we go after that. What do you think, man? So,
And I'll say this, to the best of my understanding, it is the fact that we are the quote-unquote ambassadors of light.
Mm-hmm.
And the forces we're fighting are the ambassadors of dark.
Right.
In the ViDoc, they talked about how the witness is the embodiment of the dark, and we are the embodiment of the light and dark that it comes in.
Mm-hmm.
That is where I kind of hope that we don't push too far into one side of it. In the aspect of the lore side of it, right? In the very beginning of the Gardener and the Winnower, they talk about how there was what the Gardener and the Winnower were doing. They were creating these worlds and galaxies and everything else.
Mm-hmm.
They were putting forth, and in every situation, there was one winner. They never brought it up and they never said anything until like the very end of that lore book.
Mm.
And they talked about how the Vex were going to be the last remaining race, and then it would restart. And the Gardener was like, no, we should step in and do something, give them free will essentially, and do whatever the hell they want.
Right.
And the Winnower was like, nah. Not gonna happen, so sorry.
This is the way it happened.
And and that's the whole ridiculous part of it. But I also think back in that regard to Destiny 1, when it comes to the Black Garden, that the Vex were trying to create their final shape.
Yeah.
And you hear them talk about it in Destiny 1,
mm-hmm.
of them trying to create the final shape. Them trying to get to their final shape. But in that aspect, I don't think that the Winnower has ever said that it was the Vex for sure.
And isn't it ironic that the first episode is Vex themed?
Yes. But I don't think that the Winnower has ever said that it was the Vex. I think that the Winnower had said, hey, there's going to be a species that's always going to win. They're always going to step in and do something, and they're always going to do the thing, and we've stepped away. We're not going to say anything or do anything to change the outcome. And the Gardener was like, no, that's not how that works. We should give them free will. We should give them this. We should give them paracausal abilities and the whole nine. And with that, I think that in that instance, we are the individuals that the Winnower are talking about. I don't think that in the grand scheme of things in the game that we were going to lose. I think that we were going to win at every step of the way. I think the Winnower made it sound like it was the Vex because it could be the transfer through time, transfer through space. I mean, we went through the Osiris season. We've dealt with the Vex 100 times. We've jumped in and out of portals. I think the Winnower was talking about us, which there kind of reinforces your thought of the Traveler being a bad guy.
Right.
I think that we're going to end up being the good guy, the good force of it in a weird, convoluted way with light and the dark, but we're going to be the good guy of it in the Winnower's plan. And at the end of, maybe the 3 episodes, maybe, subsequent episodes before D3, it's going to come out that the Winnower was right all along.
Okay.
And we're gonna end up being the good guys, but not in the way that we thought we were gonna end up being the good guys. The Gardener and the Winnower, they talk about how the Gardener had said, hey, I'm gonna introduce paracausality to a race.
Right.
I'm gonna give them this ability to do whatever, however, whenever they want, and it's gonna be based off of me.
Right.
And then the Winnower was like, no, you can't do that. That's cheating. And then both forces, Gardner and Winnower jumped in, and it was a different thing. But at the end of the day, with all of it, I think that the Winnower was talking about us. I don't think the Winnower was talking about the Vex. And if you read any lore, that's the...
I have not read this lore, unfortunately.
Read the Gardener and the Winnower.
Okay, I will.
Yeah, or, I mean...
It actually might have been in one of the lore books. I'm going to have to go back and look.
I mean, we can do a quick little shout-out to Guardians of Lore. They did a Guardian and the Winnower. Also, the Myths and Stories guys did it as well.
Okay.
I don't think that it's going to come down to the fact that we were the good guys and the Traveler was the good guy. I think it's going to be we were the good guys, and we had that political sense kind of reaching over us, telling us, hey, this is what you're going to do because this is what so-and-so said to do.
Right.
And I think they're going to pull back the original Destiny 1 idea that the Traveler in Destiny 1 was originally written to be the bad guy.
Okay.
He was not supposed to be the good guy.
Gotcha.
He was supposed to be the bad guy.
Yeah, I heard that wrong.
So
okay.
I hope they bring that full circle now as we are going to be the actual Guardians of Light, but in a weird, convoluted way. And I really hope that that's what happens. Because if it's just, oh, good guy did good thing, good guy did good thing, good guy did good thing, good ending, that doesn't really bring about a good, ending for me, at least,
right?
And how we're going to play the game.
I mean, this is a 10-year story that's built up to this point. So, yeah. I forgot to ask you this in the when I was going over the TWAB this week. 3 days is all we got till we go into the raid. Now, granted, we're all 1810 now. So, other than artifact power, which save those bounties, folks. Artifact power is probably going to be more important because getting that artificial power level, you got 3 days to do it. And I'm probably, I don't know yet if I'm going to do day one or not. I might just watch on the sidelines this time and just see how it all ends. But how do you think the Witness is do you think the Witness is going to die? Boom, we kill her, done, story over? Or do you think like me, do you remember playing Regicide when we went against Oryx? And how you would defeat Oryx and he would fall to the ground. Oh, you got me. And then he took the energy from his sword and literally took himself to his throne world. Do you see the Witness doing something like that? Or do you think it's one and done? We're done with her. Because it's just ironic that we have 3 days to run day one. And then as soon as someone day one, which I'm guessing will be within 24 hours, beats the raid, it opens up the rest of the story to the rest of us going into the first episode. It just seems like it might be an Oryx Regicide moment where, yes, we did defeat him in this life, but he went into another portal or somewhere away. Do you see something like that happening, or do you see something different?
I see something like that happening only because I don't understand the thought process that we were fighting the big bad, the big dark the whole time. Mm. And out of nowhere, we're just going to switch and we're going to go fight random dark, random bad. I don't see that at all whatsoever.
Okay.
They brought, I can't think of what it was called. I want to say it was, in my head, I want to say Altar of Flames, but I feel like that's the Crucible map.
It is.
There's a portion on Nessus where you can jump down through a little jumpy puzzle and get all the way to the bottom, and there's like some lit up pyramid ships.
Yeah.
And you could see that from the beginning of beginning of D2.
Right. Okay.
I feel like there's going to be we may have defeated the embodiment of the darkness, but not so much the idea of the darkness, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Destiny Bungie realistically as a whole, not even just Destiny, Bungie has always loved to push everything that they do into crazy far off things, and then they give you a story mission or two or whatever across the board to push their narrative they were trying to make the reality.
Right. Well,
I feel like Bungie's going to do the same thing. Yeah, exactly. In the end of Halo 4, I feel like that's going to be what it is. It's going to be we beat you, but you're not dead.
That's what I've always thought. The Witness isn't going to, quote, die. Something's going to change. I just don't know what it is. I can't picture it.
I don't think it's going to be like a Queen's Walk kind of thing.
No.
Where it's like, we killed you, and then we got to do this, that, and the third, and
you get the heart. No,
everybody's involved, and now this happened. No, I don't think it's going to be that. But I do think that in that instance, if in the event that the Traveler is going to be the good guy, and the Witness is bad, there's lore entries that talk about how you cannot be imbalance in the universe, because the same thing, you can't be in the middle of it because you have to be acted upon by equal amounts light as you are equal amounts dark.
Mm-hmm.
So I look at it from the aspect of, okay, so in this instance, we have 3 light subclass, 2 dark subclass. So we're not being acted upon by the dark as an equal force.
Mm-hmm.
Now we get prismatic that kind of blends them, so maybe that's their, kind of like middle of the road kind of thing. But it talks about it in the lore that you can't have one without
yin and yang,
middle without being pulled by equal amounts of the both. So if in the event the prismatic idea is going to be both, and it's going to be pulled one way on some things and pulled, that's cool, but there's still a power imbalance between the two.
Mm-hmm.
Because of equal numbers, I guess is the best way to put it. So I 100% agree with you. We're not going to win wholeheartedly right off the rip. I think that there's going to be some kind of blip. There's going to be something. I think that there's a possibility that we end up defeating the Witness and then dying. And then we get the Halls of Time or whatever it is with the Young Wolf's Howl and Saint 14 talking to us. And then there's going to be another side of it of in the Traveler's last breath, it didn't create the ghost, it created the Guardian. And we come back and then we fight and we do whatever we have to do, expel said darkness.
Okay.
I mean, Kevin Smith, is that his name? So he said that D2 is not done post the episodes. To the episode side of it, I don't think that the episodes are going to be a prequel where we're fighting this and we're fighting that. I think the episodes are exactly what they said on it being us dealing with the quote-unquote paracausal or light and dark within our solar system, and we're going to push. And then I hope that Destiny 3 is going to be, okay, cool, well, we listened to Zavala for so much time. We did what Zavala wanted,
right,
which was protect home. But every step of the way that we've stepped out and done something different, we've picked up 2 different dark subclasses. We reached out and we beat the crap out of people. Like, we're going to step outside of the solar system, making that Vault Glass Fragment 3 go, or Vault Glass Ghost Fragment 3 lore card relevant. And then making that we are going to be the winners and not the Vex. Yes, they can perceive time. There's a whole different bit of lore on that, but we can perceive time and do what we want within it because we're acted upon on 2 different sides, and we have to protect our solar system as opposed to Destiny 1, Destiny 2 being we protect our last city on Earth.
Yeah, see, the Vex it's been very quiet about the Vex lately. We have really not heard much on the Vex side. Vex are very limited in what we've seen in storylines so far. You know, from even the past seasons, it's all been like Hive and Riven and the Fallen. There's something shaking in the Vex that I just can't put my finger on. So, and the fact that the first season is a Vex theme just makes the wheel spin. But I've never been so perplexed on where Destiny can go. I guess because it's the end. It's the end of this saga. And I guess it all depends on when they sat down in that writing room, whether they wrote this whole saga out way long ago and this is the final ending of how they decided they want to end it, or recently decided to change it. I don't know. Nobody really knows what's going on in the background here. But yeah, I really have a hard time believing that Bungie's just going to flat out kill the witness and then boom, there's nothing to do. We're sitting there looking at each other like, what do we do now? I think Bungie's going to grab our hand and draw us into that first season, that first episode via the campaign, just smoothly running right into it. And it may be, hey, we need to go kill the rest of this new race that's appearing in Final Shape. It may be that simple, but the Destiny shill in me wants to think it's more than that. So I don't know.
But with defeating the big bad and then turning around and defeating the remainder of the forces that belong to the big bad,
mm-hmm.
that's where the Destiny speculation kind of takes a weird turn.
It does, man.
Because that's exactly what happened with Oryx.
Yeah.
You know, we killed the Taken King, but the Taken were still everywhere.
Yeah.
So that becomes the question of what's going to happen and how is it going to happen.
There was a lore entry.
And that's what doesn't make any sense to me.
I mentioned this several episodes ago when I was talking about lore. I think it was with Blackbird on that episode, where there was a lore reading I read somewhere. I think it was when I was researching something, but there was a statement made, and I don't remember who it was from, that being taken, you can instantly transport entire races at an instant. And it made reference to the fact that, can you imagine if someone greater than Oryx had this possibility? And that's what made me think, what if the witness had this ability, this power to be able to transport something? That's what got in my head about transporting to another world or something. And us going, where the hell are we? You know, that's what gave me that possibility that might happen, that just that one lore entry. And I know, man, you can dive down some deep holes in the lore in this game, which brings me to my hot take. But was there anything else you wanted to mention before I move on to my hot take for Destiny, the future Destiny?
Yeah, just a little bit. And that's the transporting entire races, entire group, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
That's the other side of that is the witness we have seen do that based off of their planetary system
mm-hmm.
in the cutscene.
Right.
That exact same planetary model we've seen in the Root of Nightmares raid in the planet room. So we know that the witness can do it without asking any questions. So they can do it regardless of what happens. But to the episode side of it, the only thing that would make sense to me is the fact that, and I'm going to jump back to 2 truths and a lie.
Right.
You can cut the rest of that out.
I remember that.
2 truths and a lie. Savathun talks about how the Taken King is going to rise again. Now, yes, there could be a portion where you could say, well, the Taken King did rise again because of Eris. Or you could be, okay, well, the witness is getting desperate to keep us out of the portal. So she gives the Taken ability to Xivu. But Xivu hasn't figured it out by then. And then we turn into, okay, take out the witness. Okay, take out the Vex. Okay, what's the next one? Well, the next one would be Heresy. So we would end up taking out Xivu.
Mm-hmm.
But that would be the long-term game, as Savathun talks about it.
Right. Of
it being the Taken King will rise again. It doesn't talk about it being an individual person. Again, to the Eris Morn thing, it could be Xivu. That heresy portion that we're going to end up getting could absolutely be them teleporting entire planets over. Could be them pulling war moons in.
Yeah.
Because that's what we've heard about it 100 times. That's what they were trying to turn the moon into. That's what they've been trying.
Right.
That's what they were trying to do with Mars. Like, we could see a war moon get pulled into the solar system with the heresy side of the
episode, that last episode.
Episodes. Yeah. We could see that. Build your forces, do your thing, let's fight. And then we got war moons.
I remember when I heard that two truths and a lie about orcs will rise again. I could have sworn that was that Season of the Deep dungeon. I can't remember the name of the dungeon where orcs was on the bottom. You know, when we banished him in his throne world, he fell down to this underwater area on Titan. And, they were trying to revive him. Remember, they were trying to, I can't remember the exact method they were trying to do it, but that was part of the dungeon at the end is we were trying to stop them from powering up or somehow giving light back or some kind of energy power back to orcs that was sitting on the bottom of this methane ocean, you know. But maybe you're onto something here, man. I don't know.
With that two truths and a lie portion of the Taken King will return, of that Savathun also says things like the witness seeks the final shape, which is nothing. That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Like what the hell does that mean?
It's a dead end.
The last city is not the last city. Okay, that one kind of makes sense. I mean, we have the Ephrodite side of things from the end of Destiny 1 with the Rise of Iron and being the colony of pacifists, I think is what it talks about. I had put this in the lore channel here on the Discord.
Right.
And I asked, well, hey, what's going on with Ephrodite? Well, apparently there's something that happened with her when it came to the bleeping of planets. And she had accepted death. But we don't know what's going on with that. We don't know what planet the Nephilim stronghold was on, which is in the lore speculation where she's at. We don't know anything in regards to that. Like, once you start looking into Savathun's two truths and a lie, and you start trying to figure out what's going on, like, we'll start from the top here, and I apologize, but we'll start from the top here. Savathun is in control of Io, Titan, and Mercury. Well, that's true, right? The witness returns Mars from the void. We got Mars back, and Guardians will soon learn to move planets.
Remember that part.
Well, we can do all three of those. We learn that Savathun was the one who pulled those planets out. Do we know that for sure? No, we don't. But we know that there's taken energy on those planets that pulled them from us. So in that aspect, that would be the lie, because taken energy is what brought the Mars back to us, which is what we see. So yes, that one's the truth. Guardians will learn how to move planets. Well, the raid immediately following that, Nightmare, planet
Nightmare.
So,
yep, that's what I was thinking.
Okay, cool. So you move past those three, and then it's the Taken King will return. That's the dungeon. The Enigma is one key to detect the witness, or the Enigma is the one key to defeating the witness. Sorry. What is the Enigma? Do we know? I don't know. Nope. Somebody here in a little bit, throw it into the lore channel or show feedback channel, but we don't know.
Right.
But the third one of that is the witness seeks the final shape, which is nothing. Well, what is the final shape? I mean, we don't actually know what that is. So you move past that. The last city is not the last city. Okay. Is that in reference to Neomuna? Is that in reference to the Nephilim stronghold? We don't know. The witness will rebuild its army on Mars. Maybe the witness was trying to do that by bringing the taken energy back into Mars at the beginning of the Witch Queen campaign, and we jumped into that, and that was the thing. Okay, cool. Osiris is dead. Well, Osiris is not dead, but the last city is not the last city. We know that to be false because of Neomuna. The witness will try to rebuild its army on Mars. We know that's not 100% false. Of those three, which one is real?
Yeah, that's the question.
We don't know if Osiris is actually dead and being controlled by the Witness. We don't know if Mars came back in order to rebuild and we just said, all right, cool, whatever, screw it. We'll do the mission. We'll take out the stuff on Savathun's little floaty ship thing and call it a day. And then there's more that the Traveler will leave. Okay, cool. It got stopped by the pyramids.
Yep.
The Traveler will fall. Okay, cool. We know that's going to happen at some point. That's been talked about since Destiny.
Mm-hmm.
The Traveler is not the only one of its kind. I mean, we know that to a point. There's so much that goes into the lore side of it, and I'm going to do my best to bring this back full circle here. There's so much that goes into the lore side of it that if you were to say there's going to be a D3 and we're going to go fight, alligator people on random planet, okay, cool.
Hey, leave my
I'm
people
cool
alone.
with that. Sorry, I didn't think about that. But if you say, hey, we're going to do that,
yeah,
where is that?
Yeah.
Like there's a bunch of lore on the other side of things in the solar system that we have to worry about. We got to worry about the Traveler. We got to worry about the Witness. Okay, cool. Well, we also have to worry about the fact that the strongest hive god to ever exist is Eris Morn,
Mm-hmm.
who gave it up.
Mm-hmm.
But we also know that hive gods can't just give it up. But with that, we also know Eris Morn and the Drifter had said, hey, as they go into the Traveler, we're not going to leave with them. We're going to stay here.
Interesting.
We're gonna stay on Earth and see what happens.
Interesting.
If this universe is destroyed, then okay, let it be destroyed. At least I get it to have it be destroyed with you. And there's a whole lore card on that. We don't know. We don't know. The speculation side of things and how it's going to work is going to come down to the lore, and there's too many stories or too many lore implications that could change what happens and how it happens and everything.
Yeah, that's the one thing I've known about lore is when you look back, a lot of the lore links up. We just didn't know the context of the lore, what they were talking about. So yeah, it leaves a lot to think about, man. That's for sure. Yeah, I appreciate your input on that, man, because my my train of thought here for the future of Destiny is nothing near the lore. Not much anyway. Hey Guardians, would you like to give back to our community? If you received any value from today's podcast episode and would like to give back, head over to our website, GuardianDownCast.com, and select the Patreon button to see what extra perks and benefits you can get from the several tiers of membership available. If you would like to give a one-time donation, click on our PayPal button and follow the prompts. Our community runs on our membership, and we never accept outside sponsors or advertisers. We're Guardian Downcast. Your stories, your community, your destiny. Now, dear listener, I need you to do me a favor real quick. Stop what you're doing. I know if you're at work, just stop what you're doing. Just sit upright real quick. I need to take a big breath in. 1, 2, hold it, and exhale. Because I want you to know that what I'm going to say here is just something I'm throwing out there into the world, okay? It's something that's been mulling around in my head. And as you probably know from past podcasts, some of the things that mull around in my head are just a little out there. But I was watching some content creators talk about how they don't think that that Sony's going to do anything in the spirit of the fantastic Fallout series that just launched. That Sony was not really going to do anything with Bungie and the Destiny game. And I've got some speculation here. Big surprise, right? But what if we're not seeing the forest for the trees here? Maybe we're too close to the game world, but not seeing the bigger picture here for Destiny. Now, I know there was some buzz over, some kind of show for Destiny on the horizon since Sony originally bought Bungie. But, since some internal issues with the studio, that buzz is kind of quieted somewhat. We haven't heard anything about. Even some doubt that there'll be even any kind of show of some sort in the Bungie realm, in the Destiny realm. And in fact, Luke Smith, you notice his title was different when he talked about at the beginning of that ViDoc last week. Some speculation mentioned an anime series due to the fact that Sony owns Crackle. But let's not forget the massive footprint that Sony has in the motion picture industry. This seed of thought began way back when, God rest his soul, Lance Reddick passed away. And they announced his replacement being Keith David, who I must say stole the show for me in the movie Nope. If you remember, he played the father that was killed instantly sitting on his horse in the movie. It's about an alien that was hiding amongst us in the clouds, in fact. And if you haven't seen it, check it out. It's one of Jordan Peele's masterpiece movies, in my opinion. May not be for you, Uncle Scumdeath. Now stay with me here. It was announced that Keith David would be taking over the voice lines for future Zavala, right? What if he's already been casted for Zavala in a Sony production of Destiny? I'm really curious how Borderlands is going to do this August. It's touted as a really big, another big video game series converted into a movie. And I'm sure Sony's going to be watching to see how this does, especially since Lionsgate is the main production company with whom Warner Brothers owns nearly a 4% share of. And I didn't know if you knew this, but Warner Brothers Pictures is a division of, anybody guess? Sony Pictures. So you could say that Sony has already kind of dipped its toes into the video game adapted series. Hell, my favorite adapted video game series was on HBO Max couple years ago, actually, The Last of Us. That was a PlayStation game. Warner Brothers is also the owner of HBO Max. So you see where I'm going here, right? Sony, I believe, when they looked at purchasing Bungie, probably realized with how much lore and writing and backstory that Bungie put into this game series, that a movie or television series probably could almost write itself. The original material is there. What's really great is that Bungie has tons of options when it comes to where Destiny goes from here. It's been a conversation in our show feedback channel on our Discord. Some have said that we need to go back and tell the origin stories of Destiny, like the Iron Lords and the Battle of the Six Fronts. You mentioned that earlier, Sith, just to name a few. But some have mentioned that Bungie needs to go totally fresh with all new characters and environment. Either way, Bungie can do it. I see an HBO Max series about Destiny in the future still, especially with the success of the Fallout series just recently on its competitor, Amazon Prime Video. I see a near-present Earth with an opening with life as usual and a beautiful sunny summer day, and then a huge shadow cast upon the sky, just as the opener to that Guardian storyline. Think of how popular the original Destiny game would become, especially if they already planned a relaunch on PC or Steam. I know, it's an old game. I know that part's a stretch. I'll admit, that part's a stretch. It's certainly not one of my more extreme out there speculations, but just as Disney Plus did with the Star Wars franchise, and now that Sony owns all of the rights to the Bungie stories and studio and gaming, what if we're not seeing a big enough picture here? We're so entrenched in the video game world and the day-to-day news of the game and what content creators produce on YouTube and Twitter and Reddit. What if Sony saw an even bigger possibility with the studio and game story? Is it really impossible to see an original Destiny TV series that sets up the original Destiny storyline, just like Fallout did with the nuclear blast over the city at a birthday party? Spoiler alert. You can create an anti-hero like the darkness that encroaches over the Earth's major cities, and then fast forward 200 years like Fallout did, by the way, to present-day Destiny. You would be revived by your ghost, and you guys all know where the story goes from there. Sony would have options down the road to create breakout series and breakout Destiny games based on certain popular characters like Saladin, Shax, Cade 6, Zavala, the Drifter, Mara, and her brother in the Awoken. All I know is if I spent billions of dollars on a little gaming studio in Washington State with a single IP, by the way, it's what I'd do. Because the writing and lore is so rich in this game, and Sithdaddyfresh just talked about some of that lore, how deep the story goes in Destiny. I'm thinking Sony had a management meeting over all this before they decided to buy Bungie. I think when they looked under the hood to see what Bungie had, I think maybe they brought their division heads in, started thinking about a full rollout of Destiny. I know some of you are just shaking your head, and hey, I'm no insider on movie and show development, but I'm a long-time movie watcher and enthusiast, and I can see further down the road at the possibilities. And who knows? You know, the dystopian style shows and movies may soon give way to some other fad or style of movie, but I can tell you this. These movies put butts in theaters, and they certainly put eyes on TV screens in the streaming services out there these days. Fallout, I think, is just a taste of what's to come. Sony sees how well Fallout did on Prime Video and The Last of Us did on HBO Max. Man, that was a revelation of a show. But if you noticed, Fallout, 10-year-old and older games, I think one was made in 97, older than Destiny. There's been a resurgence of players, record numbers jumping back into the Fallout game when it came out on Prime Video. And I think a lot of players went and played Last of Us when the HBO Max story came out. I think it rejuvenated the game series as well. However many versions of that movie or of that game they put out. My God. I think I bought it twice now, maybe 3 times with the PS5. But I can see it being a new live action series on HBO Max in a few years, maybe. Maybe at the same time as, say, a Destiny 3 launch. I don't know if the timelines could sync up and if everything went to plan. I don't know. These are just the thoughts I have in my head when I'm working throughout the day. And maybe the sun got to my head a little bit too much here. I'm just trying to understand why Sony would spend so much money on a single product and game. All I know is if I had tons of money to throw at a fully written game, and you know how much money they put into the Last of Us series, and they did it right. An ongoing live service environment like what we have now with the Destiny game and further development into stories and events. I can't imagine a Sony Pictures company that didn't at least take a peek at this. So my question again is this. Are we not seeing the forest for the trees? That's all I'm saying. Now, if nothing like this happens, then at least I feel better that I put this out into the world. Obviously, it would have to be done well. You'd have to spend a lot of money on this. But I think if there's someone who can do it, Sony Pictures might have a little bit of experience in this area, just saying. I can't fathom that Sony would spend billions on a single game studio just for live service gaming expertise. I'm not buying it. I can imagine a much cheaper way to bring in experts in any of the gaming industry to accomplish this goal, including recruiting people from Bungie without having to buy the company. Plus, Mr. Live Service himself, the past president of PlayStation, he's retired. So if that was the purpose of acquiring Bungie, then what does Sony do with Bungie now? If that was their only reason for absorbing this company. And on another parallel front, I've been following the news around the new PS5 Pro version that's going to be coming out on console. It's already been confirmed. Various sources have said it's coming. I think people are saying 2025. I just found out yesterday that PlayStation 5 Pro will be offering PS5, quote, enhanced games from its past library. Some speculation has mentioned that past 30 frames per second games could possibly be enhanced to maybe even 60 frames per second. I have no idea how they can do that, other than upscaling, I guess is what I'm hearing. I've also heard speculation that PlayStation has been communicating with their in-house content creators to be prepared to offer ray tracing capability and to be prepared for a patch coming soon. There's also been some speculation that by the end of 2024, PlayStation will be making an announcement about the PS5 Pro console. So if you remember, I was talking about Destiny 1 being down for maintenance over a few weeks. Could this be what they were working on? I'm jumping around here, I know. But these are just thoughts that have been bouncing around in my head all week about this ever since this dang Fallout show has come out. How nicely would it be to tie in some sort of movie or TV series around the game? I don't know. If it all synced up perfectly, wow, what a plan Sony would have for Destiny. All right, I'll step off my pulpit. Sith, before we move on, man, what do you think of all this? Am I out there quite a ways? Or is there some relevance here that you could see happening? Or am I just overreaching again? What do you think, man?
I mean, no, I don't think you're reaching too far. I mean, we've seen it with Star Wars, where they had their established story. They had then made later stories on the big screen, I guess is the best way to put it.
Mm-hmm.
And then they wanted to pull in different video games that they had done and said, oh, this is canon. Oh, wait, no, hold on. That's canon.
Right.
Okay, cool. If that's the way that Bungie and Sony want to go with it, I really hope, really hope that they don't make the same mistake that they did
with Halo.
Exactly.
I know.
With Halo. I hope that Sony has paid attention to what had happened with Bungie and Microsoft, and then they figure it out. Because there was a TV show that came out about Halo, and it was all right, and then it wasn't. And if they're going to make a video game to a movie adaptation, I really hope they don't screw it up. I hope they, and in my opinion, the Fallout series is the best video game to TV show or movie adaptation we've seen in a long time.
There's only one more. There's only one other video game adaptation that was better, and that was Last of Us. To me.
Oh yeah, yeah. Me. No, that
was very well done, and they spent tons of money.
And I hope that they take the time and they kind of pull from what had made those two TV shows so great based off of the video games. If that's where they're going to push to it with Destiny, I hope that they take what they had learned or what the industry had learned even in the past, and they do it that way. If you want to give us the idea of past battles and craziness that Twilight Gap and Battle of the Six Fronts that we had dealt with in Destiny, give us that in a TV show.
That's just a drop in the
jump
bucket,
back and show it to us.
You just talked about all this lore about the widower, Gardner and the widower. I mean, just that amount of detail and story is just one tiny drop of aspect. We're talking about the end of possible the Light and Dark Saga. But I'm just saying, as an example, they could literally handpick any lore entry in this whole game and make something on it. I mean, the writing is there, man.
The Last of Us did it on a basic video game that we all played through.
Yeah.
And everyone was like, oh, well, that wasn't how that happened. Oh, that wasn't how this happened. And there was some people who pushed back on it. And then when Fallout came out, everyone said, oh, it's going to be the same as The Last of Us. It's going to be terrible. It's going to be this. It's going to be that. But that wasn't the case because they didn't touch on the video games.
Right.
We never seen Vault 33, first and foremost. Mm-hmm. Second, it was 10 years after Fallout 4, which was the latest game in the sequence. We hadn't seen anything past it. So if you're going to give us the idea of a Destiny TV show, give us what you guys had talked about on the UK Roundtable. Give us the backstory in the TV setting. Right. Don't give us something that's going to end up being canon later on. Give us the flashback on the big screen. Don't give us a flashback on a video game that our character hasn't done anything with, because in Destiny we were woken up in a Cosmodrome, and that was it. That was the beginning.
Hundreds of years later, after, I mean,
exactly.
The cars that are burned out and rusted out are still there today in the game.
Give us that backstory on the TV show.
I mean, they could go anywhere.
Don't do that in the game.
But I'm just thinking, Jim Ryan is retired, and I know he was the one that was really pushing live service, and maybe he was the one that pushed the deal through. I don't know what happened at Sony, but Sony's been around a long time, man. And Sony has been in the motion picture business a long time. They own so many studios, so many divisions of just Sony Pictures alone. And the fact that they are tied to probably one of the in my opinion, one of the best streaming services online right now, which is HBO Max. Talk about original content. I don't even have to say anything else. It's HBO Max, man. I don't know. The fact that they were so successful with Last of Us a couple of years ago, maybe that was a factor in them acquiring Bungie Studios. But billions of dollars for a single game franchise that is almost 10 years old, there's got to be something else that we're not seeing. I'm just saying. I said it last week in the roundtable, and then once this Fallout series came, I just said, wow, it really can be a very successful project if it's done right. And I think Fallout was done right. And the fact that The Last of Us was done so well, and that was a pretty basic game, let's face it. I mean, it's a well-written story, but it's one story. How many stories are in the Destiny verse? I'm just saying it can go in any direction. Think of all the rich content that Sony now has ownership of. The game could be just the small piece of the entire puzzle here. We're arguing over how the game's going to end. What if there's something much bigger for this game franchise that we never saw coming? That's all I'm saying. There's my crazy thought for this month. But I just love the game. I love the franchise. I love the story. And the more lore I read in this game, the more excited I get for stuff that I didn't even know about. And I just think Sony has so much material here to work with. And we'll see. I guess we'll see. And what I'm thinking they might do with Destiny 1, if in fact they have these PS5 enhanced games coming, they could be a console exclusive that plays Destiny, the original Destiny in 60 frames. Because I said, well, you know what? I'm going to boot it up today. Let's see what it looks like in 30 frames. And I tell you what, the 1080 screen looks very clear, very vivid. In fact, I opened up Destiny 2 right afterwards just to compare. And other than the little bit of glitch of 30 frames, Destiny's still a beautiful game. So, I don't know. When I heard about the enhanced games coming to PS5 on the new Pro model they have coming out, that it can upscale games that weren't intended for 60 frames, but could possibly be a 60 frame, that I said, why not Destiny? Why not? I mean, I jumped in Destiny 1 today. There were people all over the Iron Lords area playing the game. So anyway, I won't belabor the point anymore, but great conversation, man. I knew you'd have something for me tonight. So thanks, man. Thanks for engaging, and thanks for playing along with this, because I think there's been so much discussion around the Destiny 3 now that leak has been, it's not verified, but it still, in my eyes, holds some merit. So we'll see. Time will tell. All right. You know what? Let's lighten the mood a little bit. Let's get some questions from our community. Sound good?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it. Hey Guardians, would you like to send a question for the show to us? There are 4 ways to do it. First, you can join our Discord server at discord.gg/GuardianDownCast. There's also a join link in our show notes down below. We have Guardians from all walks of life and all over the world, from new lights to day one players to hardcore gamers. There's also a channel labeled Podcast Questions where you can type in your question for the show. So come hang out with us. You can also email us with your question at guardiandowncast@gmail.com, or we also occasionally post about our upcoming show and guest, and you can respond there with your question at Guardian_D_cast is our X handle. Finally, you can send us a voicemail with your question at guardiandowncast.com, and we might play it on the podcast. Think of it as talking with us right on the show. Thanks for listening, and later, Guardian. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is that time of our show where we get our questions from you guys. And I'll start with some questions that were asked to Sithdaddyfresh this week. I'll start with Rodimus Prime. Question for the lesser hockey organization fan. Why, as a whole, are the Red Wings better than the Avs?
So I thought about this question earlier this week, and I thought, well, I could talk shit on the fact that the Red Wings haven't done anything since 2009. The last time that they were a legitimate team was 2011 when they won the conference and got knocked out in the first round. I could talk shit about the fact that until 1968, there were 6 teams in the NHL, and they had won 7 of their Stanley Cups in that time. But I've decided that I'm not going to focus on that. I'm not going to focus on the fact that you have 11 Stanley Cup titles and 7 of them were when there were 6 teams to play against. I'm not going to focus on that too heavily at all. I'm going to focus on the fact that the Red Wings have been around for almost 50 years longer than the Colorado Avalanche, and you have twice as many wins in 50 years. I think it's 3,097 is what the Red Wings have, and the Avs and the Nordiques, and if you want to get real, the Falcons and the Cougars, I think, was the original name for the Red Wings. You still have 3,097. The Avs have like 18 something. It's like mid 1800s. We were around for 50 less years than you. You're coming up on 98, almost 99 years, and we've already almost caught you. I look at it in the fact of you're living in the past, honestly. Wow. You're like a Cowboys fan. You know, we were good in the 90s. Yeah, you were good in 95, but from 95 to like 53, you weren't good. You were terrible. You went like a 43-year gap where you didn't win a Stanley Cup, nor did you make the playoffs. But earlier this week, Rodimus Prime, and I'm going to call you out by name, we talked about the difference in the Avs and the Red Wings, and you had said, well, we made the playoffs for a record 25 years. Yeah, well, you also play in a weak-ass division, so good luck. I mean, you had Patrick Kane and Larkin in this year, and you barely missed the playoffs, which means if you had made it, it would be barely made the playoffs.
Right.
Whereas, I mean, the Avs are, got a 140-point scorer on our team who's probably going to win the MVP. We've got over 110 points on the or 105 points on the season. Sorry, as a team itself, we're going to play the Jets. Not going to be a hard series, but you guys are going to be watching us from the couch.
Okay.
So I don't really understand where the shit talking is going to come from on how
Rodimus does that.
Oh, I know that, and I love it, but I don't understand why as a whole are the Red Wings better than the Avs. I mean, I guess the actual answer to your question would be the fact that you guys have incorporated your Stanley Cup champions into your leadership team, into recruiting and presidents and coaching and everything else, and the Avs have not. I mean, the only person that the Avs, Patrick Waugh is the head coach for a different team who's not the Avs. He has nothing to do with the Avalanche. The only person who we have who's still participating is Sakic, and that's about it. So, outside of the shit talking, to answer your question, the real reason why you guys are better is because you've had been
alive longer?
No, not even been alive longer, because that shouldn't be an argument. Is the fact that you have had your successful team, your successful teammates, your successful franchise is still a part of that franchise, where the Avalanche, that is not a thing.
Okay.
We don't have that still.
All right. Fair enough. That's not the answer I was expecting, but I like it. Dice Goblin Black Cat has 2 questions for you. The first one is, why do helicopters eat their young?
So I tried to Google this question and figure out what it meant.
I did not know it.
I have no idea, but I will still answer it. Helicopters eat their young because they are tender and taste better. I don't know.
All right. Question asked, question answered. Her second question is, what is a hill you would die on about something ultimately low stakes? I think we just heard it.
Oh, waffles are better than pancakes.
I agree.
Hands down.
Oh my God, man. Waffle is, shout out to Waffle, one of our members. Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Dude, a Belgian waffle? It's been a while since I've had pancakes. I always get a Belgian waffle when I'm sitting down for breakfast somewhere.
It's the pocket of like the salty butter with the sweetness of the syrup that just, it makes it elite. I don't need to spread it across a pancake and then throw another pancake on top, cover it in syrup. I don't gotta do that. I get the best of both worlds, then it being the salty butter with the sugary sweet side of it being syrup and the fluffiness of a waffle. It's got to be waffles are better than pancakes, hands down.
Okay, what is your process when you eat a waffle? Let's dissect it here. Is it just simply butter and syrup?
Did you almost say gravy right there?
No, I want to say gravy, but no, I don't put gravy on my waffles.
Well, I mean, you do scoop your, what is it?
Oatmeal on my bagels?
Bagels?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, your bagels in it.
And don't knock it until you try it.
So, waffles and gravy is kind of par for the course here.
No, that's not me. That's not a hill I will die on.
No, it's some butter, a little bit of syrup, next waffle, butter, syrup, next waffle, butter, syrup. Okay. You do however many, fit your heart,
one's enough.
Waffle wise.
I mean,
and then you eat it.
I mean, the waffles I eat are as big as a plate. So what you do is you put the butter carefully, representatively in a majority of the holes that you can, the cavities of a waffle. And then what you do is you get some fresh blueberries and then you start placing the blueberries. It can be a chutney too. It can be like a blueberry, like puree even. And you can sprinkle that and spread it around as well. And then just enough syrup to fill each pocket of the waffle. I'm hungry already. Okay. Zombie Pops has a question for you. Question for CIA Daddy Fresh. What real life conspiracy theory do you believe might be true? Since this is our question of the month, but for Destiny.
Yeah. That birds are not real. I couldn't think of a better answer, so I'm going to stick to this one. Birds are not real, and COVID was a government conspiracy to recharge the pigeons.
Okay. Fair enough.
I'm not a conspiracy guy.
We're not a political.
That's what I'm going to stick with.
Not a political podcast.
I'm sticking with that. I'm sticking with that.
I like that answer. Stormcrow has one for you. Question for the show. Why are pest control guys so different? I know we mentioned this at the beginning of the show, but why are we so different?
I think it's because you're in more of the management position.
I do both.
Because you've been doing it for so long.
Yeah, I do both.
I'm an
owner operator.
You go back and forth, but yeah, but you still have the owner side of it, and
sure.
I don't. I don't have the owner side of it. I don't have the management side of it. So
that's just time.
Yeah, I think the difference in that position would be the fact that you have different experiences in the pest control industry that I don't. I think that's what would make us different. But Stormcrow, if you're asking about Thailand, I'm so sorry, brother. You neglected to answer that question on a previous podcast. So,
all right. The final question is from the original Jimmy. What is your most used gun for fun, for DPS, and for looks, and for true love? Gator can chip in as well. Oh, for fun, DPS, and looks, and for true love. So 4 guns. Okay.
I think I can pull this all in one gun. I think it has to be sweet business.
Oh.
Across the board.
Okay.
I mean, it's a minigun for looks. Everyone sees a minigun. I mean, there's a, not trying to be insensitive or rude or anything, but there's a country on the other side of the world who fought the United States military for longer than I've been around that calls a minigun that we have attached to some things, the Breath of God.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of cool. In a weird way, it's kind of poetic when you say the actual words. I'm trying not to give away a whole lot there, make it too political, but they call it the Breath of God. It's terrific.
That makes sense.
I like the sweet business because of it. Also because it's kind of a minigun that I can just run around and shoot stuff with. It looks the best. It does everything that you need it to do. I mean, if everyone remembers back to Leviathan, it was the DPS meta at one point. It's just, I don't know. Sweet business has got to be it for me, especially being a Titan.
I wear that vest.
Active war rig. We don't have to worry about reloading, and we have rally barricades.
You're that guy in the Crucible. Okay, that's fine.
And we have little rockets that shoot now too.
Yes,
so
that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
I'll go with the single gun feature as well. I mean, for me, it's Revision 0. I mean, look at this gun. It's just beautiful. It's multi-purpose. It has maximum range for a pulse rifle. And then all you have to do is just get some crit hits, not kills, crit hits. And you can power up to 4 sniper shots that are pretty damaging. So yeah, Revision 0, man. It's just my gun right now. When Mercury's designed this gun or came up with the idea for this gun, he has to be a pulse rifle guy like me because it is so much fun to use, man. And if you use the heavy burst, it reminds me of the AN-92 in Battlefield where it shoots like a double sniper bullet, like one behind each other. Oh my God. I love that gun in Battlefield. And I'm having just as much fun using it in the Crucible. I've used it in Trials, and in PvE as well. It's just an all around great gun to use. So, and it's exotic. So there you go, Original Jimmy. Thanks for your question. Let's go. What we got? You know what? We have a speak pipe here I want to bring up. I actually got a couple speak pipes. So let's get those out of the way here. And then, we'll ask a couple questions before we head out. First one is from MC Maximo. I'm sorry, Mick Maximo. I'm sorry, I've mispronounced it in the past. Mick Maximo. We'll see what he has to say.
Hey guys, Mick Maximo here. You know, I'm kind of an average Destiny player, but I have managed to accumulate some high stat armor. Like all of it's 85 or 90, and I pretty much just use the same armor all the time. So my question to you is it worth it for an average player to go into these master dungeons to try to get the Artifice armor? Curious to hear your answer. Later.
What do you think, Sith? Is it worth getting the Artifice armor in the dungeons? Oh, you can also get it, by the way, in comp now.
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, it helps out with build crafting. I mean, you're kind of limited on just regular armor to the 4 slots. I mean, you had originally the raid armor that gave you the 5th slot, but that was specifically to whatever raid you were in at the time.
Right. And those are useless.
I
too. Or
definitely think it does.
Yeah.
And maybe not so much for PvP if you're going to use the comp side of it. Like Gator just mentioned, you can get Artifice armor from comp. But I definitely think it does. I've run into the issue now where I'm sitting at, I think my chest and my head are at 8 of 10. And if I had Artifice armor to kind of fill that spot, then I could change whatever loadout or build that I'm deciding to use. Which at the end of the day could end up being the difference in my survivability and doing, Legend Onslaught. Could be you having an easier time trying to get through some of these dungeons to get some exotic weapons.
Right.
Absolutely agree. Yes, it's worth the time. It's worth the effort.
Okay. For the average player, no, I don't think you need it. I mean, I'm not trying to be, negative Nancy here, but I just about all the armor I use in the Crucible is not artifice armor. It's regular armor, just high stat armor. And I use Dim to put a loadout together and look for the perks I need and just make sure it's masterworked and you're good to go. The good thing about artifice armor though is you can sometimes get a couple more mods or another extra few mods in that you normally couldn't. Like Sith said, the extra slot for raid mods I never have used. Never. Maybe once in Vault of Glass maybe. But I've never used the raid mods that are available on some of the raid armor I use because we're powerful as hell. We don't need it. I'm just saying. So no, don't kill yourself to get it. If you're not having fun getting it, let it be something you strive to get or make it a goal to get a few pieces of it and then masterwork it and see what you think. But it's not necessary. Certainly not. You're getting a little bit of a bonus out of it. And definitely in dungeons and stuff, it might have a little benefit, but, I don't use a lot of artifice armor. I don't. I just find all the years I played this game, I just have some really good rolled armor. And, I don't even have triple 100s either. I don't. So it's some of the stuff you'll notice, some of the stuff you won't even notice. It's very subtle. So, I'm sure that's going to raise some eyebrows, but no, that's my opinion on it. It's not required. Is it nice to have? I'm sure to get that extra slot. But, yeah, hopefully that answers your question. You got two different viewpoints. So, I have another question here from Dimwee. Haven't heard from him in a while. See what he has to say.
Hi there, this is Dimwee, and I have a question for the show. Now, on this day, 18th of April, they have announced that the day 1 rate will drop on the 7th of June, which is 3 days after the initial launch of the final shape, which I honestly think kind of sucks because of the reason that I shockingly want to enjoy the final shape. There's new subclass coming out, there's new abilities coming out, there's new weapons coming out, and the fact that I basically can't throw all of that under the bus because I have to day 1 prep for 3 days is awful. Now, many people, at least what are they called? Destiny Bulletin said the reason was because of story-related stuff, which I think is stupid, but, well, let me say it like this. Making a lot of people say like this, rush the campaign and ignoring basically everything happening there just to prep for the day 1 because the reason was that you guys want to make the story make sense is kind of ass. Basically gotta rush the first story so that I can get the second story. I think that's not cool. And a lot of people on Twitter are speaking up about it, which I find good because honestly, usually it was always 2 weeks ahead of after the initial launch, and people took off their days from work and, other duties, which they can basically throw under the bus now because Bungie decided to do it on the day 1. And yeah, the question I have for the show is, do you guys think the day 1 right 3 days after the initial launch is okay? Or would you guys say rather give it more weeks so we can actually enjoy, the campaign stuff? Alright, you guys have a good one. Take care. Bye.
Thanks, Dimwee. Hope you're doing well, brother. What do you think, Sith? We kind of danced around this topic a little bit, but let's answer his question here. What do you think about all this, man?
I don't see an issue with it. And the reason that I don't see an issue with it is because there's been so many people who have been like, oh, I bounty prepped. And they ended up, filling out their artifact in the first day or two. So I feel like them dropping it so early is more catered to like the hardcore players. Mm-hmm. Whereas regular Destiny is more catered to the casual player. So it's rewarding the hardcore guys, the guys who want to play, the guys who want to be able to accomplish something. To the story side of it, I think that it kind of works in the aspect of they've already kind of pushed everything back with the final shape. I mean, hell, we were supposed to be in the middle of the first episode already.
We'll be heading into the second one by June.
Yeah, exactly. We're getting real close to heading into the second one in the next couple, probably this following Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
We're supposed to be into it. So I think in bringing both of them together, I think, catering to the hardcore player, 1, 2, and I don't want to be rude to anybody out there in the world of the Destinyverse, but there's guys out there who do this shit for a living, boys and girls. There's people who are going to hit day one because they're getting paid to hit day one. And that's where that kind of catering to the hardcore player kind of comes from. Is give those guys who have taken the time to do their thing to be able to do it. And yeah, there's some hardcore players out there who are not, streamers or work for Bungie or work for, whoever, that are going to try their hand at it. And I think this is a good chance to give them the opportunity to do so. Load up your 3 characters. If you've been taking the time to bounty prep, load up your 3 characters, get your artifact maxed out, get ready, get higher than light. It's going to be contest mode day 1, day 2.
Yeah.
Be as best as you possibly can be with as many weapons, as much armor, and the whole 9 that you can be. Be looking forward at what they've already told us we're getting with the launch of the final shape, being new supers and the Arc Solar and Void, and then in Prismatic, getting people ready. I think that it's a good thing that is a bad thing in those who don't have the time to do it. But in that aspect, the people who don't have the time to do it, or the people who have taken the time off in order to be able to enjoy the game, how many of those individuals are the people who are going to be taking the time off for the week, and how many of those are taking the time off for day 1 story missions? And I feel like there's a gap in player base at that point. I'm not an Astrocross, I'm not a Sweatsickle or a Clyde. I'm not those guys.
Right.
I'm probably going to try day 1. Do I think I'm going to beat Sweatsickle in day 1? Absolutely not. I don't think I'm going to beat Sweatsickle in day 1. Am I going to try it? Probably. Do I think I'm going to beat him? No. So I think that they're catering to the other side of it, of the guys who are going to actually compete to day 1 and the guys who are going to show up and do their best in day 1.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think they're coming full circle. I think back in the early days, I don't even know if, I'm sure the world champs for like Vault of Glass and Destiny 1, there was only a few people who could really get into that and that were that good of players to do it. And I think they're just trying to create a lot of hype. They're creating a lot of challenge for these few teams that want to try to get it done. I think Last Wish, I think it was only a few thousand that even cleared it within the 24-hour mark. It wasn't much. It was probably the lowest day 1 raid in a long time, or if ever. But a part of me wants to just sit in the sidelines and just see how this ends and see what does happen to the Witness at the end. I'm sure their streams and viewership are going to be through the roof. And another part of me thinks that Destiny wants to get you hooked into that first episode as quickly as possible to keep you continuing to be invested in the game. Maybe it's part of their strategy. I don't know. Either way, I'm okay with it. I really am. I mean, I'm going to play the game at my pace regardless. So the only people I see this putting pressure on are the people who are going for day 1 and trying to get the raid belt. So. Yeah. Thanks, Dimwee. A few more questions here before we go. You wanted me to ask this question from Oda Yukamura. It is a question for the show. Look, I'm not saying that you have to, but me and about 100 other viewers just watched a muscle mommy play Destiny for an hour using an EMS machine. So the question is, when are you guys going to play Destiny using an EMS TENS machine? Or at least half a podcast? All right, Seth, you want me to ask it? What's the answer?
So the long and the short of this is, at the beginning of the episode, I had said that my girlfriend is a athletic trainer in high school. They have TENS machines.
Mm-hmm.
And when I seen this question, I was standing in front of the girlfriend and I was like, babe, do you have an EMS or a TENS machine that you can bring home? And she said yes. So I have acquired said machine. It's the long side of the answer is whenever you want it to happen. The short side of the answer is whenever you want it to happen. I mean, other than being a Patreon and a clan member in GDC2, I have no affiliation to the podcast. So if you want to watch me try to do it with a TENS machine, then let's go. Let's do it. I'm broadcasting in Discord and we can figure it out.
Hey everyone, Future Gator here. I'm gonna come clean to you guys. When I had this question read, I did not know what a TENS machine was. And then once I looked it up while I'm listening to it in post here, I realized that my chiropractor uses this every day. Every time I get adjusted, he hooks me up to a TENS machine, a professional, powerful one. And I have a pretty good tolerance to electrical current. So I might be willing to do this, thinking back now, as I have a portable unit I use here at my home, because I guess some of you could say I'm old and I need massage and muscle stimulation to help physical therapy and all that good stuff. So I might do this. This actually sounds like a pretty cool idea. Oda, I still want to see this stream in the Check This Out channel. Thanks. Okay. Future Gator out. There you go, Sith. That was your wish. Let's go out with a Destiny question here. Okay. I just kill things, Nico. What is the best pulse rifle in game and why is it Outbreak perfected? Totally biased. In parentheses. We've had some deep conversation tonight. I figured let's go out with an easy one, right? Best pulse rifle.
Part of me wants to say Graviton because of the synergy with Void.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that you can get Outbreak, and I know you're totally biased on Outbreak, the fact that you can get Outbreak with Rewind, I feel like Outbreak is the legitimate answer regardless of what you say.
Okay.
Like not you, Gator, but like what anyone says. I feel like Outbreak is going to be the best because like even with Caretaker, Outbreak is the backup DPS that you run with it. In like early Val, that was what everybody was doing.
It depends. For me, it depends how strong the Siva nanites are. That's going to depend to me.
Well, the thing is the fact that it's going to be craftable.
That's true.
If there's no buff, if you can have Rewind, without a buff, you've upped the DPS on a primary exotic weapon.
Yeah.
Because of it. And that's fine.
I love 450s. I love this weapon. It's very nice. I've got all the ornaments for it. It's one of my favorite pulse rifles out there. But I'm sorry, it's going to be revision 0 for me. Just does too much. It has too many benefits. And, dude, I can carry a sniper and a pulse rifle in one weapon. I mean, come on. Really? I'll put my revision 0 up against the Outbreak Perfected. Anyway, thank you. Thanks, Nico. Thanks everyone for your questions. If we didn't get to your question this week, don't worry. I'll have another guest on next week. Someone I've never had on again. Brand new guest next week. And I'm really looking forward to this one. I never asked them on the show before, and I don't know why I haven't earlier. So we'll save some of these questions for next week because I'm sure they'll be pertinent then. All right. Elmer Fudd. Play that intro music.
Oh, listen to the Guardian Downcast. Oh, it's a playlist. Yes. Ooh. And I've heard they've like won awards for it and such.
Thank you, Mr. Fudd. I hope you're doing well, beautiful. This is the final segment of our show. This is where we pick our song for our award-winning Guardian Downcast show playlist. It's a sample of what myself and my guests listen to, and we invite you to listen to as well. Just search for Guardian Downcast show playlist on Spotify, and it's now on Apple Music. The links are down in our show description down below if you want to follow along and see what we add and sample some of the songs we have. We have 1,190 of them in this one playlist, so I don't think you'll run out of songs. But it represents all of us and all of our past guests ever since we started podcasting in 2019. I'll start with you, Sithdaddyfresh. What are you picking for your song choice tonight, man?
Well, actually, I'm going to choose two because I'm a Patreon.
Oh, absolutely.
Supporter.
Absolutely.
And so first, in honor of the Fallout show, I've chosen I Don't Want to Set the World on Fire by the Inksplots. Just playing through Fallout 3 on Galaxy News Radio. That was kind of the song that's for no reason it's always playing. It's also in the promo for the video game. It's in the trailer for the video game, but it just kind of encompasses the whole thing. It makes me think of Fallout. I've played the game since as long as I can remember, and I just really like the song. It's a great song. For the second song choice, again, I'm a big fan of EDM music, and I was kind of thinking kind of heavy on Gator talking about it being songs from his childhood.
Right.
So the song Zombie by Cranberries came into mind, and I was like,
I already picked that one.
And I was like,
That's a great song.
I know that song's already going to be on there. But again, listen to the EDM, Alinium and Excision and Wooly, as well as Valerie. They had decided they were going to do their own version of the song together. It's terrific. If you're trying to get into any kind of different types of music, there's three drastically different EDM artists that are that are a part of this song, with vocals from someone else. But there's three drastically different artists a part of this song, and they do it so much justice. I love it so much. I would put it up there as remakes or redos or however you want to say it for songs. I would put it up there with the Bad Wolves version of Zombie. It's that good in my head. I love it a lot. And me love it EDM. I got to see this live. And when I say that standing there, you think of EDM shows, everyone's going crazy, they're fist bumping, they're jumping everywhere. When the song started, people were singing, they were a part of it. I looked around, there's people crying, and it was just a beautiful time to be a human being, because it wasn't the idea that the song was supposed to be in that kind of setting. And everyone who knew the song kind of made it a little bit better. And it was just a beautiful time in my life. And I really liked it. And it's kind of held on to me ever since. So I'm going to throw it in there.
Good deal. I can't wait to hear that, man. I love that song. Tonight I am picking a song at one of our very first hosts of our podcast back in 2019. If you remember, Easy was one of our co-hosts. He turned me on to this band from Savannah, Georgia. Like I said, when I think his very first song pick for the show was a song called Seasons. It's one of my favorite songs on our playlist. I listen to it even today. The song I chose for tonight is from their 2012 album, Yellow and Green. It's the song Take My Bones Away. I just get that grungy Queens of the Stone Age feel with those deep, detuned guitar riffs. It's the band Baroness. Check them out. I don't normally do this, but I'm doing an honorary pick tonight. I've already added it to the playlist, in fact. Uncle Scumdeath's band Warcrab just released their latest album, The Howling Silence, and I added their first track called Orbital Graveyard to our Guardian Downcast playlist. I just saw the video to it as well, and it was really done well. It looks like they picked up a record label, so if you like metal, this is your band. Check out Warcrab on Spotify. Yeah, great song. It's heavy. Fair warning, it's heavy. It is death metal, but man, it's a good groove, man. Good song. Just want to mention that if you guys are enjoying everything that you're listening to today, hey, do us a favor and go to guardiandowncast.com and hit the rate and review button. And leave us a review. Give us some feedback on what you guys think of the show. And we'll be sure to give you a shout out on the show. I want to thank all our patrons of the show. Patron shout outs to our Dungeon Champion patrons. That would be Smiter, Technical, Wicked Trinity, and Deadpool 1 Merc. A thank you to our Raid Boss patrons. That's Jealous, Frostbite, TL Tim. Sorry, Laz. I gave you one last week, okay? Amazing Taco King, Sithdaddyfresh, and Nico, aka Jersey. Thank you all for giving back to our show and community. I have some more planned video content coming soon. And as always, our monthly video roundtable episodes now will post every month for our patrons. I also have some special audio episodes coming out at the end of this month or first week of May. And the theme of it is conversations before and after the show. We've had full-blown conversations before we even started recording. So I'm going to merge some of those into a little mini episode. That is a wrap. Another episode in our collection. Like I said, we had a great show last week with our UK roundtable. If you haven't checked that episode out, and it was so much content, it was actually in 2 parts. I had to split it into 2 separate episodes, but it's episode 247. And just go to guardiandowncast.com and search for 247, and it'll pop up for you. Mr. Sithdaddyfresh, thank you, sir, for coming on the show tonight, man. I know I spoke to you in the live show, but I figured, you know what? He needs to come back. We need to talk some more. I had such a great time on the live show, man, when we were talking. I think we hung out for like an hour and a half after the show ended and just had turned the cameras on and bullshitted for the stories that came out of that, man.
Yeah, man, I do want to apologize, and you can cut this and put it into a Patreon thing if you want to. I do want to apologize because after the show was done, it was the first time that I've ever, I say first, it was the second time that I've ever spoken publicly. And I know it wasn't like crazy publicly, but like every other time was like to my section, to my squad in the military. It was, when I was in high school, it was to my football team being the team captain. It was to whatever. Mm-hmm. But then it was, talking to people in the live show, talking to you, talking to everyone after. There was like 15 of us hanging out that night. I was like, I'm not a good fucking public speaker. I'm not very good at that. Well, I drank a little bit, and I had went down a rabbit hole for a little bit.
Well, you obviously
so
had
I do want to apologize for that.
That's why I invited you back, man, because you had such an impact when you talked that. I mean, I thought you were talking from the heart, man. I thought it was really good. It was some really candid stuff. So, like I said, it's why you're back, man. It's why I had you back on the show, because I think you did really well, man, for your first time.
And for those who did not listen to the live episode from earlier this year, basically what I had said was that, and Gator had kind of touched on it a little bit ago at the very beginning of this episode, and said that there's so many communities that had sprung from the Guardian Downcast, and it's one of those things. And Gator said there's just a little bit of pride that kind of comes into it, and Todd, you definitely should, man. You should have that a little bit of pride. You should pat yourself on the back at the end of the day, regardless. I'm looking at the Blueberry Lounge and the Space Mafia and one like there's you have that thing, man. You have it. People want to hang out with you. People want to talk to you. People want to do shit with you. They want to do the thing, you've encouraged them to build their own communities, whether it be for Gambit or, their own podcast on the other side of it. Like, regardless who was here with you before and who's here with you now, like, you've done it. You're here. You're still here. You're still doing the damn thing. You're still getting a bunch of the Destiny community stories out there.
Yeah.
Thank you, man. And it's a great thing, man. It really is. You shouldn't be, worried about it or, I don't know if I want to do this and I don't know if I wanted to do that and that kind of thing. And I'll bring it up again at the live show afterwards. We all jumped on cameras like Gator had said. And he had brought up the idea of the round table then. And every one of us were like, oh no, you should fucking do that, bro. That sounds awesome.
I've had more feedback from our roundtable episodes than any other episodes we've been putting out. And our podcast has been through a lot of ebb and flows. And, that's just part of growth, I guess, in time, and, I'm real proud of it. Like my son said a couple episodes ago, it's something I really put my heart and soul into. So thank you, man. That means a lot coming from you. It really does. Thank you, man.
I'm real proud to be able to call myself a part of the Guardian Downcast, family.
Thanks, man.
So keep doing what you're doing, brother.
We're glad you're with us,
Keep
man.
rocking on. Keep doing your thing, brother. We got it. Something I said to Hazel, 9/14/23, 1:22 p.m. Hey, man, I just want to let you know that you and Gator have built something that has brought people from all walks of life together in a way that you don't really see in the world today. We all love this game. We all love the lore. We all love this community. I want to thank you and I want to thank Gator that we all get the opportunity to be in one place at one time, all together. So why not get back to the community to continue the growth of the voice of the people and a place for gamers to call home. GDC against gamer stigmas, GDC against the world. That was the day I became a Patreon member, was 9/14/23 at 11:20. Sorry. I say 11 at 1:05 p.m.
He sent me that message. He sent it to me right away.
I'm looking at it right here.
That was very nice of you to say, man. That really was. It meant a lot to both of us. It did.
You built something here, brother. You
Thanks,
really
man.
have.
It's
terrific.
Like I said, I'm the last one carrying the torch for the show, and I'm trying a lot of new stuff this year, and I just hope people like it, That's all I can do, man. Believe me, I have such really bad imposter syndrome. I doubt myself all the time that I'm doing something wrong. I need to, I'm not trying to get too sentimental here, but it happens with all creators, man. You just start doubting yourself and mistakes you made along the way, and fuck it, man. You just got to push forward. That's what I'm doing.
Hey,
so hopefully everybody's liking it. Everybody's liking the changes to the show and things that I've been putting out there, and hopefully the patrons are liking, the material. That was one of my goals this year, was to put out a lot more content for those guys and gals, because they're the ones who keep the community going. So it's awesome. So thank you, man.
Well, hey, you can keep carrying the torch, but I can tell you right now, I can probably count about 500 of us who are helping you hold that fucking arm up.
Thanks, man. Well, speaking of which, in our community, how can people find you out there in the Destinyverse?
Yeah, you can find me on pretty much every social media, every website, Instagram, Twitter, the second best hub on the net. Sorry, that was a joke. Yeah, you can find me on Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, everything. It's all at Sithdaddyfresh. TikTok has kind of started to become a thing for me, from my poetry side of it.
I love it.
You can do that. That's really it. I'm in every one of the Owl Sector Alliance, to include some of the kind of branch offs. I'm always on Destiny doing something, or I'm on Fortnite or Helldivers doing, whatever. Just hit me up. Let me know in the Discord if you want to do something. And 9 times out of 10, I'm down.
Nice. Thank you, man. Thanks again for coming on tonight. It was a good time, man. Really good time.
Yes, sir.
Sir. You can find me on Twitter X, Todd the Gator. It's 2 Ds and GATR. I have a YouTube channel spelled the same way. If you want to check out some of my content, I post a lot of shorts right now, little snippets of our podcast. And I also have videos out there that help players getting into this game. I also have another podcast called the Destiny Help Desk, which we hone in on one single topic in Destiny. And I usually bring some friends along to help me talk about it with kind of a teaching mindset. So check that out as well. If you haven't already, it's the Destiny Help Desk on whatever podcast app. I mean, probably the one you're listening to right now. Or you can go to destinyhelpdeskpodcast.com if you want to check out the past episodes and go from there. Sorry, Sith, but I'm contractually obligated to mention our Better Call Laz segment before we head out tonight. Laz, what's up, man?
Space Lukey. Hello. As you know, as Laz, me, I am the space lawyer. I am your space lawyer. I am everyone's space lawyer because there is only one space lawyer. But enough about me. I only have one thing to bring up this week, and it has to do with a member of the Discords and all of this, and it has to do with ways that you've talked about him in the show. And so RNG Gator reached out to me recently and said, hey, I'm very concerned about the way that I'm being trashed in the Guardian Downcast shows. The way that, he, like, Gator, other Gator, whatever, there's too many Gators, talks about RNG. And he just can't take it anymore. He's tired of being trashed every time RNG is brought up. And I don't know if this is some sort of miscommunication or if there's some sort of deep-seated anger here, or I don't know what it is. But it's gotten out of hand, and he's just asking that it's either stop, cease and desist, or he's going to bring down a lawsuit. And I don't want to bring down a lawsuit. I don't. But sometimes you have to make hard decisions. Was it my decision to have to be the check on the space mafia? No, of course not. But those guys are freaking doing all sorts of crazy nonsense over in their Discord and in real life, and somebody's gotta keep them in check, and that turns out to be me. Who would have thought, So just visit the RNG thing a little bit. Get back to me with your thoughts on that before I'm forced to take whatever legal action that I may or may not take. Agnes Edna will draft up some documents, which could be as simple as her actually putting the effort in to make the documents, or her simply just opening up a Word document and then just saving it as a draft, because that's usually how that works. So yeah, get back to me, and I'll see you guys next week with more news or legal cases. I don't care about the news. What am I talking about?
Give me a break. RNG, really? Really?
Yeah, no, I'm gonna back Gator on this. I think he's upset about RNG within Destiny, and RNG and Gator being Todd the Gator, because that's how we call him as Gator. I feel like they're being pushed together. So I don't think you have a leg to stand on in court, buddy. I think you're gonna lose this. I'm just saying.
Good luck. Sorry, Laz. I guess send me the paperwork. It's gonna affect your payments, though. Think about that.
Oh,
yeah,
absolutely.
I mean, those checks are already trickling. Anyway, thanks, Laz. I love that guy. He promoted our show way back when we very first started. When he promoted us on another podcast that we happen to listen to as well. But yeah, thanks, Laz. I'll keep that gag going. Remember, everyone, we're Guardian Downcast. Your stories, your community, your destiny. And be good to your fellow Guardians in the Destinyverse.
Defeat is not surrender, Guardian.
Thank you all so very much for listening. And later, Guardian.
Get toddled.
Thanks for that. Haven't heard that in a while. Awesome. Hey, remember everyone, we're Guardian Downcast. Your story.
Oh, hey.
Yeah, what's up, man?
Can I say one last thing?
Sure. I was about to close out the show, but I guess go ahead. Yeah, man.
I'm sorry. I just kind of thought of it. So over the last couple of weeks, I mean, like most of the people listening to this, we listen to other podcasts and stuff. And maybe yours aren't the same as mine, but over the last couple of weeks with some of the gaming podcasts, I know I reached out to Rodimus about an episode that they had done. Just want to kind of give a quick little PSA about some mental health stuff. I know we all use gaming for different things, and we find our outlets and stuff like that, you know. But kind of just want to take a minute and remind each and every one of you that you're loved and that you're valued and that you're needed in this life. As somebody who's struggled with addiction and the thoughts of unaliving themselves, and mental health issues, and overall just the shitty hand that I was dealt in my life, I just want to take a second and just kind of reassure you guys, you know, whether you're dealing with something that's crazy or dealing with something that's just a little bit, that whatever the hell it is you guys are going through, or wherever it is that you guys are in life right now, to just keep going, ladies and gentlemen. Just keep going. Okay, I want to make sure that you guys understand that you made it through all of the days that you thought would be your last, and there's probably a good reason for that. I want to tell you guys that the windshield is bigger than the rearview mirror for a fucking reason. Okay, because whatever is in front of you is so much bigger than what's behind you. I want to tell you guys right now that I may not have like a crazy affiliation to this podcast outside of being a Patreon member, but I'm proud of you guys. I'm proud of you guys for waking up every day and giving it your all. And even if it's not 100% and you only gave 10% of what you could, that's still 100% of what you gave that day. And that's what fucking matters. All right? Keep giving it everything you got. Keep your head up. Keep doing the damn thing. I'm proud of you guys for waking up every day. I'm proud of you guys every day that I get to talk to y'all when you're on this side of the dirt. I'm here for you guys. I'll answer a phone call at 3 a.m. I'll answer a phone call in the middle of the day. Keep your head up, Guardians. We're not done yet. You're not done yet. You got a life to live, and I'm so fucking excited that I get to be a part of it.
Well said. Give me my bounties.